It's funny because I thought, oh no, we may run out of time if we have a lot of people talking, while we're sharing. I thought we may run out of time. Hey, Eden. Hey, little mama. um, First of all, I have to just say I couldn't be more excited about the promos for October that corporate is doing. Have a light to shine on me. I'm not sure if that's going to be good or not, but there we go. The re-rank promo and the cash, holiday cash, it's going to be a big month. And here's the thing. In our Beauty Inside and Out group, we're doing a belly buster challenge. I would be using that to invite new people and to invite people who have done that with us in the past, or ambassadors who have been, sluggish lately or seem to have dropped off the face of the earth. I would send them a cute little graphic of the Belly Buster Challenge and say, hey, I just wanted to show you what we're doing. See if you might be interested in doing this with us or with me. Tell them about the pumpkin spice lean, whatever it is that you think would be interesting to them. And that to me will, I think, because it's going to be like a 2-week event or a 2-week challenge. And so we should really get people interested in that, because those of you who would love to capitalize on the Christmas cash or the re-rank promo, all of that, there's lots of money to be made over the next 3 months by those of you who want to get your game face on. I have my game face on, by the way. This is like, when I saw the promos, all of that was announced yesterday, I was like, oh, boogity, it's about to be really good, because a lot of people are going to be doing lots of things, going to be causing lots of commotion on my team, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the idea of it. I'm excited about it. So, next announcement, Monday, Rock the Pink is going to have Tarl on there talking about international expansion. I think it's going to be good for us to hear him talk about it. I've heard Chris Pear talk about it. I heard Genevieve talk about it. I've heard another couple of gentlemen at corporate talk about it. We had Brian on our own Zoom talking about it. I'm really excited to see what Tarl has to say about it. And that's going to be, like I said, Monday night on Rock the Pink. Does anybody know what time they normally do that? I don't have it memorized in my head, but 8 Central? 8 Central? Okay. I almost guessed that. Oh, somebody said 8 Eastern. No. Anyway, I will go look. Since we don't have a full-blown consensus on that.
Eastern.
Do what?
I think it's 9 Eastern, but you ought to look, because I could be wrong.
Okay. 8 Central, 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. So it'll be on Michelle Thomas's. 8 Central. I'm reading it straight off of Michelle Thomas's thing. Maybe they're doing it different, but this is what they're doing this time. She posted about it on her wall. A very special Rock the Pink Live. Plexus founder and CEO will be on with us live to discuss the Plexus business and our global expansion. Learn why it matters to you and how you can be a part. Plus, be ready for some insights that only the Plexus CEO can give. Monday, October 7th at our normal time, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Michelle Thomas's Facebook page. That, if you're wayward and looking for it, I posted it on the Butterfly page. Also, if you're not understanding the promos or want to know the rules to the promos that corporate launched and you don't know where to look, they're on the Butterfly page. They're also in your email, unless you're not. You think it contradicted itself? How so? The last part. Y'all just hold your horses 1 second. Okay.
It sounded like when you were reading it, you said 9 p.m. Eastern at the very end.
8 Central, 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. Is that not right?
Well, you said 8 Eastern a while ago.
I did.
No, 8 Central is what you were saying. Okay, sorry.
No problem. At least we've gone over it enough that we'll remember it. We might be confused when we remember, but we'll remember. We'll remember Monday night, won't we? The good part about it being live on her wall is that if you don't get to watch it live, you can go back later. But I'm personally going to set an alarm because I don't want to miss that. I want to be in on all the chat and the commentary. That kind of stuff is always so fun to watch people chatting, especially while Tarl is trying to talk. It'll be good. So, all right. Let's see. Okay. Now, like I said, light crowd tonight. This is interesting to me. I'm just laughing at the commentary. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm just laughing. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm trying to make sure there's not anything brand new. Okay. Let's please don't forget. We get hopped up on these calls, and then at the end, I think, the very first thing I said was probably the most relevant. Let's do not forget the Belly Buster Challenge that's starting Monday. True? Monday? Do I need to look that one up? I think it's Monday. Okay, moving on. Okay, what I think we'll do now is we will go around. I'm not going to say what was said here, but I do want to just ask, is that the time that he made the commentary about the housekeeping coming in to the hotel? Remember that? Do you guys remember that at convention? Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. I just remember being like, what is going on? And then he embarrassed himself talking. It was really funny. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the questionnaire that we're going to use for tonight. Very simple. I want you to tell me something about yourself. That's number 1. Number 2, why you started Plexus. And if you need me to repeat the questions, it's no big deal. Long-term goal with Plexus. 1 question you'd like answered if you have a question. And number 5, your favorite color. I don't know why, but just fun to know something personal about people. So is there someone who would like to volunteer to go first, or should I just start a picking? Should I go first? Okay, Erin, you go first. All right.
Okay, read me the questions.
Okay, just tell us about you. The first part, just tell us about you, and then you're going to go into why you started Plexus.
Okay. My name is Erin Kroll, if y'all don't know me. I live in Oklahoma, but I only live in Oklahoma, well, because Jesus told me to move here. But he told me to move here after I came to visit Lori and Jetty. So if you come to visit Lori and Jetty, watch out. Jesus might tell you to move to Oklahoma. Oh, and interesting side note, I live in an airplane hangar. Why I started Plexus was because, long story short, Lori actually got a glimpse of why I started Plexus this evening. She got a couple of messages from me with my old attitude, with my old demeanor, with my old mouth. My hormones used to be jacked, and I needed something to level me out. And 9 times out of 10, I am quite level, but I utilized the support of my upline tonight very appropriately, because we go up, we don't go to the side when we have issues. Just side note. And I did that today, but she she got to hear what Cray Cray Aaron was like. So
You
she can attest to that.
you totally like wrangled it back in all by yourself.
I did. Yeah. It used to take me like weeks to wrangle myself in.
You did.
Like and it would take me weeks and a couple of bottles of whiskey. And now it's just Jesus and like leveled hormones. It's wonderful. One question. Is that my next one? Oh no, what do I want to
long-term goal.
Long-term goal. Yeah. I just want people to believe in themselves the way that I have grown to believe in myself. And that's not to say that there are not days that it's not hard to believe in myself, but I can honestly say that my confidence has been transformed. And when your confidence is transformed, there's nothing that you can't accomplish. So I think belief leads to A, B, C, and D, and E. So if you're struggling with A, B, C, and D, and E and putting the cart before the horse, back up to the horse and find the belief in yourself and the confidence in yourself.
That's good.
And question. Okay. Oh Lord. This one's hard. I didn't prepare ahead of time. Oh, I'm going to turn it back on you a little bit.
Okay.
What has been your hardest struggle with the business to work through?
Hands down, this is an easy, I mean, there are lots of things. It's not like there's only one thing, but hands down, the number one, and there's not a close second, is especially my initial struggle with what people think. And it's still a daily kind of lingering, looming. I mean, the growth that I've experienced in that regard, and not just with Plexus, but as you walk through it and survive it, whatever it, everything, you walk through something and you survive it and you go, gosh, it wasn't nearly as bad as my brain told me it was going to be. And then over time, it's not that it's not still kind of a looming thing that kind of hangs over my head a little bit, but oh my gosh, I'm so much better about it. And sometimes I even shock myself with things I'll do and say that basically are completely representative of I don't really care.
Right.
Like Brene Brown says, that's its own hustle. When you're like, I don't care what anyone thinks, she says that's its own hustle. But there is an element of I don't really care that has come only from walking through it and surviving it, and much prayer, tears on pillows, those types of things, because I very much grew up sort of raised to be a pleaser, honestly, and also I really, really, I know I'm kind of making this a long answer, but I feel like a lot of people struggle with this. And so I was raised to be a pleaser, and I was also raised, I don't know that this was raising, whether this was raising or born in or what, but so much wanted to be validated by certain people in my life. Not everyone, but by certain people. And over the years, I've realized I could create the cure for cancer. I could literally jump and launch my own ass to the moon. And those same people would be like, if only you'd gone to the moon and then to Jupiter, or if only it had been cancer and polio or whatever. It's not me. It has nothing to do with me. Yeah. So that's for me. That's been my overcoming that a step at a time, a bite at a time, whatever. Yeah.
That's a really good answer.
Thanks. It's true.
Okay. Last one is, do you know, or what's my favorite color? Do you know?
Oh gosh. I think I would, if I were to guess, I would say turquoise or green, but I don't know if that's right.
Green.
I thought green based on the clothes. Yeah, you wear a lot of green. It looks great on you too. I love it. Who would like to go next? This is fun. All right, Misty. Tell us about you, Misty.
Okay, I had the questions pulled up. Now I've lost them.
I'll feed them to you.
Okay. So about me, I don't know. There's lots about me. There's really, that's a long story. Let me start with why I started Plexus.
Okay.
I started Plexus because I was told I had to lose weight in order to donate a kidney. So I started exercising and dieting, and that wasn't getting me anywhere. And my doctor recommended the products. He was actually the doctor of Chris, what's his name? Chris
McCall?
Yes, Chris McCall, and had seen his numbers and his blood work change and all that. And I flat refused to do it, even from my doctor's suggestion. And then found out like a week later that my sister-in-law had been taking the products for like a year. So that was my reason for starting. My long-term goals is still to help people, but to also retire my husband so that we can get on the road in our RV and travel around full time. And
very nice.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? I don't really have a question.
Okay.
I mean, I know I know I don't know you really well, but I know you fairly well, and I listen all the time, so I think I usually get all my questions answered.
Everybody may be caught up right now on everything that's going on. I was thinking / wondering if there would be any new people on here or not. Sometimes new people have, something they want to ask them. All right, what's your favorite color, lady?
Blue.
Blue, it's a good color.
Like every shade of blue possible.
Every shade of blue. I like blue too.
I have a blue Jeep that's like a bright blue light. Like somebody called it my light the other day. It's like
a neon blue?
It's like it's not neon, but it's really just a really bright, vibrant blue.
Cool.
Love it.
A blue Jeep. That's cool. My daughter had a blue Jeep. She's recently sold it, but she had a blue Jeep that was painted and never wrapped or whatever they were going to do to it for a Bud Light can, so it was that blue.
That's about the color of mine.
That's what I'm picturing in my mind, but okay. Yeah, Jetty's going to chime in. He says that's voodoo blue.
I would go with that.
Blue, is it? Okay, who wants to go next? Thanks, Misty.
Yep.
I'll go, Lori.
Oh, do what?
It's Elaine. I'll turn on my video.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm in pajamas, getting ready for bed. I got to work early in the morning. Okay, so the first question is a little about me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I live in Northern Ohio on Lake Erie. Grew up here and moved away after college. Was a teacher for 6 years and was at a middle school and burned out, decided to move back home. And when I moved back home, I took a job at a factory and I was on different shifts, mostly second and third. And one night when I was on my way into work, I fell on ice and herniated some discs in my back and had quite a rough way to go with healing. And they sent me to physical therapy and I wasn't getting better. And they did an EMG. They sent me to a neurologist who did an EMG, and that was like so painful, but I didn't have the nerve damage. So he said, I think there's more going on. And then he ended up diagnosing me with fibromyalgia. So that was in 2008. And by the time 2014 rolled around, I had just gotten out of a really emotionally abusive relationship. He wasn't physically abusive, but he really kind of made me feel like I didn't have much worth. And it was really hard clawing my way back from that. I'd put on quite a bit of weight. My fibromyalgia was all flared up because stress just makes it much worse. And my friend that I had used to teach with when I was in Columbus messaged me about Plexus and said it was helping people with fibromyalgia and helping people lose weight. And I was desperate to feel better, desperate to not be in pain and agony. And no matter, I was on third shift at that time, and no matter how much I slept, I was like a zombie. I was exhausted all the time. No amount of caffeine and sugar could make me feel better. So I started on the product in May of 2014. So I'm about 5.5 years in. And immediately within the first couple of days, had more energy, was feeling better, so much better that on my 1 a.m. break in the middle of the night, instead of taking a nap, I went out and went for a walk. So I knew there was something to it, and stuck with the stuff and really had no desire to work a business. Didn't really think that that would be something I could do. And then I started seeing crazy momentum on my team with my sidelines and my uplines. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I can get out of this factory because it was not feeding my soul. I mean, I'm a yellow who likes to have fun. So I'm yellow and blue, but I'm really yellow, really heart-centered, which is why I went into teaching in the first place. So working in a factory was not good for me, but it was paying the bills. So I was like, okay, I can do this and change people's lives. And I was on board. Well, in 2000 Lori, I took the breakthrough with you in 2016. Christy, I was at 16, 17, 3 years ago, 16. I think it was 16.
Yeah.
So so it was February of 2016. I finally made it up to gold. And I had a couple ambassadors under me, rocking and rolling, and we were growing, and it was exciting. And then no sooner did I get to gold, I started going backwards. And by the time I took your breakthrough class, I really was ready for breakthrough. Like, I was seeing everybody around me, like, just propelling like crazy. And it was like my momentum had just gone nowhere. It started going backwards. That's when the back office changed and we all were really struggling. And I lost all my worker bees. So I eventually got back when they did that November, where if you re-rank, you got like a bonus again during our breakthrough. I got back to gold, and I think that's the last time I was at gold. And so I have gone backwards and just felt like stuck in the muck now for several years. Go back and forth between not thinking that I'm ever going to get anywhere, and that maybe all this was meant to be for me was not about rank, but about the people that I've met and just feeling better. And that, you know, as long as I make enough to have my products paid for, that may be enough for me. So I've been trying to work on my belief. I'm kind of a junkie when it comes to personal growth books and classes and everything. But for me, it's about, I don't just like to sit and read something by myself. I'm such an extrovert that I have to talk to people about it. And I want to know that I'm making those connections with people. So I love to go to like trainings where you get to meet others and everybody can cry on each other's shoulders and that kind of thing. Which, Lori, I went to, first time I met you was when Aaron still lived in Pennsylvania and had you come to Hershey. And I drove 8 hours from Ohio to Hershey to meet you with a couple of my girlfriends, and met Erin before she was an Okie. And I just felt this connection to you. And so I'd been following you on Facebook and knew you as the Fungus Queen, but just really felt like I needed to know you. And so then when you offered that breakthrough training, I was all over it. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made, because you have been a real catalyst in my walk with Christianity. I've always been more of a spiritual person and have had, you know, a little bit of some intuition things, you know, a little bit of some psychic stuff. And so I kind of was more for the last 20 years in the direction of, you know, psychic readers and a lot of spirituality books on that kind of stuff. And so I had kind of veered away from Christianity without a lot of great church experiences. So you've really helped me with that. So that's a little about me. I am now not even gold. I think my points at the end of September were back down to like 20. I have a few like loyal wholesalers, and that's about it. That's about all I've got right now. So every day I struggle with the do I put all of my courage in every single day, doing every single thing I can to try to make this work, or do I just try to find a different job? And because right now I'm working at Sam's Club and I'm on my feet all day long, which is, you guys have been praying for me, dealing with my feet issues and stuff. So I would love to add 12 people, and I would love to like get some crazy momentum and blow up a team and actually get some passion and stuff going again. So I'm hoping to get there. Yeah, the re-rank bonus would be great. Getting back to gold again would be great. I feel like that's been my ceiling. Like I've gotten there 2 or 3 times and then I've never gotten past that. So what was the next question, Lori?
Well, I don't know. I think your long-term goal is a big question mark right now as far as your long-term goal with Plexus.
Well, I honestly was, when you were talking about using Plexus as a vehicle to do other things, how this may not be the thing, but it could get us to where we're supposed to be. So I have a huge heart for animals, and I'm very empathetic when it comes to any animal suffering, or like a raccoon ran out in front of my car on Friday night and I hit it and I cried. Oh. So I'm going to cry thinking about it. I would really love to be able to start and fund an animal rescue, focusing on neonatal kittens and, just anything I can do in our area with the trap neuter return, because we've got a lot of outside kitties and nobody's really doing anything to take care of it. And it's a big problem. So that would be, I would love to have the money for that. So that's my long-term goal. So if I could get to Emerald and have a pretty good steady income where I could just afford something like that, that would be phenomenal.
Okay. One question you'd like answered.
How do you, being a fellow heart-centered yellow personality, how do you and the others, like I know there's more of us that have been attracted to you under your umbrella, how do you deal with people who start feeling better and then give up too soon and quit, and you feel like that disappointment for them, almost as if it was your own? How do you handle the people that quit or the people that don't even give it enough time to work? Because that's like a major frustration for me, is so many people quit before they get to the good part, and I see so much potential. And that's been a struggle. I've just kind of been sitting at the same rank for so long that I just have felt like, well, even if I can just help a few people, then maybe that's enough. But I'm kind of talking myself out of things, I think, by doing that. So you've made it to Diamond, Jetty's made it to Diamond, and I know it's been a tough season for you guys and all of us. So how do you handle that?
Well, I handle it differently now than I did early on and up until pretty recently. But now I'll answer how I used to handle it. Was constant conversations with the people who I could see it for, that they couldn't see it for themselves. Constant whatever, all the things, all the yellow things.
Because I'm a people pleaser through and through. Like, who else was it? Aaron. That was Aaron that was saying that too, I think.
Me.
And you, yeah, it was you. So I'm, same way. Like I've always been a people pleaser. I want to make everybody happy. It's hard.
I had a little bit of an epiphany, and I'm not sure what the epiphany was. It was kind of a mind shift about a year ago, maybe a little bit more, with the fact that I just, a realization maybe. It doesn't really matter how much I want it for someone. And even if I explain it to them in detail about how they could get there and all these things, and since I have shifted and moved on past those people, I've gained momentum again. There was something sticking me. I'm just being really, really candid with you here. Something was sticking me, almost like I was like, I'll wait on you. Come on. Come on. Come on. And I'm talking about, I have people that are so close in my life. I have people in my life that remind me so much of myself. relatives so much of myself that I know that they could do it. Like, it's almost like because I'm doing it, they don't. Not because they're spiteful or whatever, but it's kind of like it's my thing instead of theirs or whatever. And by finally,
so hard when the people closest to you don't get it, and
Yeah.
not that they don't support you, but they're just not interested at all.
let me just tell you something I noticed. Almost every leader in our company is the only leader in their family. Almost every leader in our company is the only. There are, the ones you immediately go, exception to the rule, exception to the rule, exception to the rule, because there's like 4 of them where that's
Right.
not true.
Like Tim and Michelle and like you and Jen.
Sarah Marble and her mom.
Oh yeah.
Like there are some, like I'm talking about, there are some husband and wife combos.
But you mean like mother, daughter, or sisters and that sort of thing?
Huh? Yes. But
Okay.
I'm saying, well, mother, daughters, sisters like that. There are hardly any. And so that's actually part of the epiphany that I had is I'm spinning my tires if I'm waiting, and that's not unique about me. Like I was like, but everyone else seems to be able to tell everyone in their family, or everyone in their family seems to get it. That's not true. It's very unique if your family gets it. It's very unique if your husband gets it. I mean, that is something that I have that's very unique. It's very unique if your sister gets it. It's very unique if your mother gets it. And so this, like, but I need validation from this. It's validation, whether we want it or not. We want to be validated by the people in our lives that are important to us. We don't want them thinking that we're crazy. We don't want to feel crazy, all these things, but it will stick you in the mud. Even if you're waiting on people in your hometown to get it. I say this all the time.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
The lady who sponsored me told me that Plexus was saturated. In 2011. She's like, it's basically saturated. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not good news in my head. I'm like, that's really bad news. And I'm like, I mean, come on. First of all, she sponsored me, and I have multiple diamonds on my team. There was no saturation there. And then we have this town. We have a small town with lots and lots of leaders, but they're not my family. They're not my family. Do you see
I was one of the first in my area. Like nobody, when I joined in 2014, because my whole upline is in Louisiana.
Yep.
And nobody up here knew what the heck I was talking about.
I'm going to respond to what Crystal said over here. She said, my whole family thinks I'm crazy. Everybody's family thinks they're crazy. And also, it's not just that they think you're crazy. There's this little bit of element of they think she might get that done. And then what does that say about me when I didn't do it? What does that say about me? Also, what does it say about you? What does it say about them, the relative, whoever they might be? When they feel that you want to better yourself, you want a life that's better than what they have, and they have this whole kind of like they try to pull you. But why do you need to be what's wrong with just living like we live? What's wrong with just paycheck to paycheck? What's wrong with they pull, and that's the pull.
Well, because like my mom, like as soon as I start doing more and more with Plexus, she'll say to me, well, like if I complain about the job I have, well, why don't you go look for this? Or why don't you go work for this person? Or why don't you apply here? Like it's never supporting me to be an entrepreneur and do this thing with a business. No, it's all about doing what's safe and what's expected and working until you can retire and collect your retirement and your Social Security. Like that's what my whole family thinks is normal,
It is. It's completely 100% normal. It's what we see everyone do, but also people are so depressed. I won't go into all of that. Okay, tell me your favorite color so we can let someone else go.
Sorry.
No, you're good. That's all stuff I think that people would like to hear and like to know. So
I figured I wasn't alone,
No.
that. My favorite color is pink, and not just because of Plexus. Like I'm a pink girl. I'm one of those, like, since I was a kid, pink and purple, until that wasn't cool. So for a couple of years, I was like peach and teal. And then I'm like, nope, my true self, I'm a pink and purple girl. So I wear it all the time. Everybody knows, and they always compliment how good I look in pink. So I just keep wearing it.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you. I'm muting.
Dawn, were you ready earlier, Dawn? Can you unmute for me? There you go.
There. Yeah. Okay, I'll go ahead. Sorry about the glare on my face. I've got this lamp in here and it's driving me crazy.
You're good.
Okay, my name's Don Bishop, and I live in Dallas, Texas. I've been in Dallas for almost 30 years now. I was born and raised in Texas, and I've lived in Texas all my life. I have that Texas accent. I get that a lot from people. When I'm talking to people on the phone about Plexus, they're always like, oh, I just love your accent. And I'm like, well, I love yours as well, you know, like if they're from somewhere else, you know. So anyway, but okay, so what is the deal about Plexus? What was the question
Why
on
you
that?
started. Tell us why you started.
I started Plexus. Okay. Okay, I started Plexus because I had gained a lot of weight. I was diagnosed with a thyroid issue, and, you know, I had tried all these other things. Nothing helped, you know, nothing worked. And then I got this magic phone call one day out of the blue from a good friend up in the Oklahoma area. And she said, hey, oh my God, I got to tell you, I've lost all this weight on this stuff called the Pink Drink and these supplements. And I'm like, girl, I said, tell me about it. So we started talking. And she goes, now I'm not an ambassador. I've just got a friend that sells it. So she goes, I can give you her website. I said, well, give it to me. I'll look at it. So I looked at it and I was like, so I thought about it. Well, then went to a Families for Christmas, found out that a family member was doing Plexus. And so I said, you know what? I said, I've already looked at the website. I said, when I get home, I'll call you. You tell me what I need, and then I'll get started. So she told me that to start out with the triplex and the accelerator. So I said, I was kind of hesitant about the accelerator because I'm very sensitive to, things like that. So I thought, what the heck, I'll try it. Because she told me, about the money back guarantee and all that. So I thought, what the heck. So I got started, and I started out as a customer too, because I'm like, you know what, I don't want anything to do with it. I just want to be a customer, So I got started, and the accelerator didn't make me have the jitters or anything like that. So I was very impressed with that. Within a couple of days, I noticed that my sugar craving started going away. And I was like, and then my first week I lost 6 pounds. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, so I called her up and I'm like, okay, I need to know how I can get this stuff cheaper, because I was fixing to lose my job too. I had a job of 14 years, and I just found out that there was a possibility that I was going to get laid off. So I was like, I need, to know how to get this cheaper and, learn more about the business and everything. So she told me all about it. The next month I immediately just signed up. And so I just started sharing away my story on Facebook. I'm like, because that's what she told me, just share away, let your friends and family know. So I did. Every time I saw somebody, I was like, hey, you ought to try this stuff called the Pink Drink and these supplements. So anyway, like I say, now I'm down over 50 pounds, and I've been able to keep it off. This all started back in, I heard about it in December of 2012. I bought my first triplex and accelerator in January 2013. Joined in February 2013. I'm a Ruby ambassador now. And so anyway, okay, so my long-term goals are to continue sharing these amazing products with all my friends and family. I don't care how many no's I get. I'm going to continue sharing away. I do until I get those yeses. And then my long-term goal too is to get to the top with Plexus. We all want that and everything. Thanks to Plexus, I am now, like I say, I lost my job about 3 months after I started. So thanks to Plexus, I am now out of debt. I have no debt. And so I've started, saving for, retirement, because I turned 61 this month. So anyway, but that's my long-term goals, is to just continue sharing, and because these products have not only changed my life, but so many of my friends and family's life. So anyway, but that's that. And now, what is it? My question,
Yeah, you have a question.
right? Okay, my question is, it was kind of what Misty, I think it was Misty, the one that just went, right? I mean, that was what I was thinking, but I've got a different one too. Is, okay, so, as you start building a team and everything, you have a lot of different personalities on your team. Can you tell me how you handle, I know it's kind of a hard question.
I don't know what you're going to ask.
Personalities and stuff.
Processing. What'd you say?
Okay. So as you start building a team, you've got a lot of people under you. You've got a lot of people with, different personalities and stuff like that. So how do you handle
all of that?
Yeah.
This comes with this.
Because I'm a big listener, I just listen and let them speak their mind. And, and then I just, try to do my best.
So
I'm all happy.
This answer comes with just lots of trying different things, but my first thing is I always try not to make an assumption about what someone's doing or what basically, especially like if it's on the team page, which is a common thing, or if somebody's messaging me and it seems very negative, I take the approach with them, especially if they're messaging me, that even though it's possible, it sounds like they're possibly being negative, I respond back to them as though they aren't being negative.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I do the same thing. Yeah, okay.
Especially if sometimes there's no assuming. Sometimes it's just very obvious and blatant. But sometimes if someone asks you a question, your knee-jerk reaction can be defensive.
Yes.
To begin to defend,
Yep.
And so even when someone posts something on the team page, I have learned not to be, and you'll see the evidence of this all over the butterfly page, not to be afraid of hard questions. I'm not afraid of people's hard questions. When people ask things that it's like, they uncovered something or whatever, I go dig and find the answer for them. I mean, like if it's something that's awkward for it to be on the team page, I wish other people weren't seeing that. That's first of all, because to me, and this is just I know this is probably just a personality type, but for me, troubleshooting through something in public can put it to rest. Does that make sense? Like if it's something that, okay. Now, moving on a little bit, kind of a subtopic of what you've brought up. Some people are just made up for drama. And I don't mean that that's their destiny in life. And I don't mean that they won't go through a growth stage and character building things in life. And I'm not saying that doesn't change for people. But some people enter my life when they're in their dramatic stage. And I learned, I've always done this, but I learned the verbiage for it from Jennifer Leith. She said something in a training one time along the lines of, train people with your attention how they act toward you. For example, if somebody comes at you with a bunch of drama and you give them back very short answers or very short responses, that's not what they're after. They want you to, they want you the hair on fire, standing on end or whatever. Especially this happens this used to happen a lot. People would come at me with negativity about a product or negativity about a whatever. And I've always kind of been like, short with that, unless it's something I feel like needs troubleshooting and that we can, if I think they have a valid concern or whatever, I would, do the troubleshooting. But the shorter the answer for people who just are dramatic seems to snuff it out quicker than if I go into a whole, this, that with them. And when they come to me with a valid concern, then I have a lot more to say to them, if that makes sense. I actually talk it out with them. That trains them what's going to get response from me. I know that sounds, but training, I mean, I can't train them for their husband or their wife, or, you know what I'm saying? I can't train them how to act with other people. All I can really do is train them how to relate with me about this particular, about Plexus or about their team or about whatever. And the truth is, like, I'm not really talking about any of you that are on here. Most of you I consider to be friends, people I would discuss things with, hash things out, whatever. I'm talking about when I have just a stranger who is dramatic, or just a person who whatever, has something going on, or they seem to have what am I talking about? A serial dramatic person, someone who is constantly dramatic or whatever. Now, as far as mixing personalities on your team, that's one of my favorite things about Plexus, is how all these different people and letting them do it. That's something that I've had to kind of learn, is that everybody does it different, and that it's okay for everybody to do it different. Everybody has their own team page style that has a team page, and those that don't, they can kind of blend in with the culture on my team page. I look at different people's culture and the way they do it, and I love the fact that everyone's different. So as far as, if I were just answering this question and not trying to kind of cover a few bases, my first gut instinct of how to answer this question is the fact that people are so different and have so many different personalities is actually my favorite part. My favorite part of working the business is to see people shine in the way that they were born to shine. So, okay. Perfect. But what's your favorite color?
My favorite color is blue.
Blue.
Yes. And this is something, it's so funny. I have all my entire life since I started driving wanted a blue car, and I have never had a blue car. Every time I go to get a car, it comes out to it's either white or brown or silver. I'm like, why am I not picking the blue one?
Would you? That's what I was going to ask you. What would it be like? Royal blue, sapphire blue, navy blue?
Just any kind of blue. I just like the color blue. I mean, awesome. I like navy blue, bright blues, whatever, just
awesome.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Thanks, Dawn. Who wants to go next? Oh, Graciela. All right, girl. Get in there.
Hear me?
Yep. Now I do.
Okay. Sorry, I had to move to the garage because everybody got yelling in there. Okay. Well, my name is Graciela Alvarado. I'm from Mexico City. I moved to US in 1999. I've been living here I live in Arkansas for 15 years until 5 years ago that I moved to Illinois. I don't know. Well, obviously I've been working. I've been having 2 jobs since I moved to US. One, I was a waitress for 5 years, then 10 years in a manufacturer where we make wrenches, especially like tools, like for craftsman tools. So I worked there until 5 years that I quit my job and moved to Illinois with my husband. And the way I found out I can do cakes, I can bake and decorate cakes. So, and I'm doing Plexus. That's about me. Oh my God, they follow me. No, vete. Come here.
Oh my God, they followed me.
See, there she is.
She's
noisy. Okay, anyway. What I do, Plexus, siéntate aquí conmigo. Hold on, siéntate aquí conmigo. Right here. What I do, Plexus, I started Plexus for the business. I frankly didn't know what Plexus was, what the products were for, or anything like that. Pretty much it was just, I love that I was at my house. I was a stay-at-home mom. Like I said, I was recently moved to Illinois, so I didn't know anybody. I didn't have my family there. So I didn't want to, and my husband didn't want me to actually work because we thought the same thing, like we're not going to put our daughter in taking care to somebody else. Okay, hold on. No, mi amor, yo aquí porque tu padrino está viendo la tele. Go. Aquí estoy yo. Dame 5 minutes. Okay? Entonces, vente para acá. Oh my goodness. Every single time. Oh my goodness.
You just locked them in a closet.
Okay.
She'll be back though. Just kidding.
Okay. Hold up. Sí, párate para sentarme yo. Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
Okay.
So, like I said, I was living there and I started Plexus because it was for me an opportunity for me to work from my home, like do whatever I had to do. Teresa was my sponsor, so she showed me and explained me all the compensation plan, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I do it. Like I said, I didn't know about the products. She just kind of assessed me like, what's going on with you? What is wrong with your health? How is your health going? And okay, I told her what my problems were. On the way, I found out that they helped me with my digestion, gut health, and then they helped me to get out from my medications for anxiety and postpartum, because when I started Plexus, Eden was 6 months old. So they helped me with that. And I'm working the business. I started for a year and a half, working for a year and a half actually, and then I stopped it for a year. That's when I found out that I had that gift to make cakes, that ability to decorate cakes. And I decided to come back last year in, I believe it was September, October, I don't remember, something like that. So I've been working the business again since over a year already. So pretty much it that, like I said, I started for the business. On the way I found a fabulous relief for my health, my sanity, because my hormones were all over the place, because my husband actually noticed it within 3 years that I wasn't yelling at him, like, what's wrong with you? Because you're not yelling to me anymore. So that was something that, wow, it was so powerful for me. And that's pretty much why I started Plexus. My question for you, Lori, is like, how you deal to not, I understand, like, when when you see people growing, there is something like comparison. The comparison it's inavailable, right? Like, you, at some point you feel like, why is happening for them and why is not happening for you, right? So how you deal with that?
Yeah. Comparison.
Yeah, comparison, like how you deal with that. Like, I know it's not your worth, and you know what you worth, and you know that you're capable of, but it's like, what is going on with my twin ground? So that's how you deal with it.
Okay. That comparison, the thief of joy, right? I'm just going to be candid with you and tell you the way I handle it. And I've probably been doing this for maybe 2 years. If I feel myself getting sucked into that, I get off of social media, and I only use social media for the purpose of my business. Meaning,
Okay.
I don't scroll and look around at everybody's everything. I know that it's lying to me anyway. Basically, social media it's not that people are lying. It's just that it is not a full picture. Even I'm not criticizing people. I'm not criticizing people. I actually, I don't put my junk part of my life on social media for one reason, because I don't want to see it again next year when my memories roll around. So I'm not criticizing people for not sharing their junk stories. But for me, when you are going through a time when you are looking right and left and you're comparing and you're seeing everybody else's glory stories and you're not seeing their whole story. And I actually spend I don't know how apparent it is. I really don't. I have no idea how apparent it is, but I spend almost zero time on social media, almost none. I completely focus on vision board type stuff, visualization. I focus on, and it's not because I think it's a waste of time or anything like that, but it can get in your head and it can start lying to you. So if that is something that you struggle with, or especially if you struggle with specific people, I put specific people on mute. You know what I'm saying? Like, I put where I don't have to look at their stuff. Now, I'm not saying, I'm going to be honest with you and say that's probably not the very top level of how to deal with this. It's just the top of the level that I'm at right now, because one of these days I would like to say that none of that bothers me and I've overcome it all and all these things. But when I'm in a place and in a season where it seems to be where I've gone through, where I'm comparing, there's nothing to compare if you're not looking at a magazine, if you're not looking at social media, if you're not watching TV. The only thing that you have to compare things to is what you see in your daily life. So I don't know. I'm not sure if that's answering your question. Now, I know when you work in your Plexus business, you have to use social media to a degree. You have to be on there working your team page or whatever. And I do try to comment within threads that I think are important. Like if I've started a thread, I try to comment within the thread. If I'm posting on my team page, I try to stay active in there. But I have found that the seasons that I spent doing a lot of scrolling were when I was depressed, and I stayed depressed as long as I was scrolling. For me, that's the number one sign for me that I am depressed, and it's the number one to stay depressed. Number one way to stay depressed. If I get out and get active, even if it's doing something like working in the yard, and remember how I've told you I do night Aaron. Aaron's early bird, early to bed, early to rise. What was I saying? For me, doing those 10-minute blitzes is like, get on, work 10 minutes and go do anything else. Even looking around on Pinterest is better than Facebook if you're worrying around with comparison, if that makes sense. And for me, focusing on what I have in mind, vision boards are huge. I'm telling you right now, there's hardly anything, maybe because I am so big on vision boards and I put so much focus on them, there's hardly anything that I've ever put on a vision board that hasn't manifested. My husband will attest to that. It's almost crazy how true that is. So vision boards and staying off of social media for me is the best way. That was a long answer, but what's your favorite color, lady? Oh, wait. I had you muted.
Well,
okay.
my long-term purpose with Plexus, obviously, like Don say, everybody wants to hit diamond, right? But obviously, first of all, you want to help people. That's what everybody wants. Personally, I want to, I don't know, obviously help my husband, retire my husband, because he works a lot. And another thing is because I want to, my mother left me a house in Mexico City. So it has been untouched, obviously. So I want to build it. So that's, like when we go there, actually, we can go to that house and, build it as our own, and, so we can be more closer to our family. Like, we don't have to travel more and stuff like that. But pretty much it's helping my husband because he works a lot. I'm doing it every day. I know, like, it's still the belief of your family that doesn't believe in what you're doing, but he doesn't say no. So unless he say no, I don't care, keep going. So basically, that's what it is, a long purpose. See, in the future, what do you like? Do you like Plexus or not? You don't like Plexus no more?
Not right now.
She's mad because I'm keeping her here. But it's like, okay. So my favorite color, I think I have two, black and gray. That's it. I don't know. I'm not a color person.
Almost my whole closet is black.
Yeah, I like black and gray.
Very nice. Okay. Thank you for sharing with us tonight.
Thank you, guys.
I think, did Kathleen, was it Kathleen said she could go next? Is that right? Okay. All right. Go ahead, Kathleen. Wait, hang on. You're unmuted, but I can't hear you. Are you connected to computer audio? I'm trying to unmute you now. Okay, now try. Now try. Say something. You think it might not be working? Okay. You want to fix your settings while we let someone else? Okay, that sounds good. Okay, who wants to go next? I can't see very many faces. Christia, are you finished eating? Can you go next? Oh, there's Crystal. Crystal, you want to go next? Yep.
Sure, I can go.
Okay.
So I'm from Moxie, Washington, which is a little itty bitty town in Eastern Washington. And I started Plexus after having 3 pregnancies. The first one was unsuccessful. The second one, my son and I almost died. And the third one, I wanted to die through the whole thing because my gallbladder went out. Okay. So I lost like 20 pounds and was super unhealthy. Oh, wow. But I ended up with severe depression. And my friend from Texas was posting about Plexus. We'd never talked about it, but she was a nurse. And so I just randomly messaged her because I was in that moment where I needed something because I wasn't the mom I wanted to be. And so I started taking it, and it helped me in more ways than depression. So that's been amazing. All 4 of us in our house actually take Plexus, all for different reasons. So we all love it. My long-term goal has changed immensely. With my journey with Christ, I want to be a speaker and travel the world and be able to prophesy over audiences and just do amazing work for his glory. So my Plexus goal is to be able to fund that. And I'd also like to homeschool my son because he kind of struggles in school. And I think I would be a better teacher for him because I actually understand him.
Yeah.
So I'd like to ask you a random weird question since everybody's asking Plexus questions.
Okay.
If you were a kitchen device, what would you be and why?
A kitchen device. Okay, give me a second. I'm just going to tell you what popped into my head. I'm not sure that I can make sense of this, but I have this, I had one at my house, and I actually have one at the guest house. I'm not sure what it's called. It's a blender, and it is shaped like a honeycomb on the bottom, shaped like a beehive, not a honeycomb. I'm not sure. And I don't know why I relate to that thing. I don't know if maybe like I was supposed to be born in the 50s or something. Every time I see that thing, I'm like, oh, that thing is so cute. It's sleek. It likes to keep things mixed up. I don't know. Other than that, I will tell you, in this guest house, if I were something in the kitchen in this guest house, it would be the mauve chiffon Priscilla curtains, because I think those are about the most fabulous thing that I have ever seen. It's kind of a random answer too, but it is true. Every time I look at them, I think, oh, those are so awesome.
That's funny.
Okay.
So I have 2 favorite colors. My favorite color to wear is red.
Okay.
And my favorite color, like in general, is periwinkle.
Oh, yeah. That's a good color. Love that color. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Was that all you had for right now? Okay.
Unless you want anything else.
Right. Okay. Christia, you ready to go? Or Kathleen? Wait, Kathleen, did you get yours working? Okay. Let's see if you get yours working. Okay, now let's try.
Hello.
Okay, yay, I can hear you.
Working? Yay. All right, awesome. So thank you for letting me hop in here, but I share my home with 6 dogs and they're quiet.
Okay.
So we take that advantage when we can.
Sure.
Something about me is I live in central Wisconsin, right in the middle. If you draw a cross on the state, that's where we are, right in the middle of the cross. We are in full-time ministry here. We have a therapeutic horseback riding ranch for people with special needs. So we also share our lives with a herd of 16 horses.
Wow.
So it's really cool. I came to Plexus because I was struggling with every mystery illness that you could imagine and had all kinds of different diagnoses and random surgeries, and everybody thought they could fix it, and finally ended up with an asthma challenge that wasn't going away, and we discovered mold in our home. So you get that part.
Yeah.
We don't live in that home anymore. We were blessed with a new home on our same property, a big angel story for us. And it was shortly after we started moving into this new home that Renee started sharing with me about Plexus. And due to the asthma and the medications, I had gained some weight I wasn't very happy about.
Yeah.
I had this Disney World self for my students. When they were here, it was Disney World. I was energetic. I did everything I could to just cover everything. And then when they all went home, I had nothing left for my family.
Yeah.
That was really hard. So the first thing I did in Plexus was order Just the Slim, because we're in full-time ministry and this is our gig. And so that was a stretch, but that was kind of cool. I enjoyed the flavor and the benefits of that. And then shortly after, Renee ran a contest and she gave away some X Factor. And I took that, and that very first day I didn't take a nap. Like, I took it in the morning. I did not nap at 3 o'clock. I had napped at 3 o'clock every day for probably 8 years, but I didn't nap. And prior to being in full-time ministry, I was a middle school teacher. So like at 3 o'clock, I was looking for anything to stay awake. But that, I was in. So it was only a month later I became an ambassador. So we've been at silver, still working the business, still working toward our goal, which is to be able to be here and pay our bills because our ministry doesn't pay us, and not have to have a different job. And for God to just use Plexus to provide for us to be able to stay here and then move into funding the legacy of the ministry, so that when we're not running it anymore, the ministry can afford to hire people to do what we do. So that's our long-term goal. My favorite color is this.
Yes.
My new favorite color. And my question is, because I interact with parents and students who have special needs often, almost every day, and you hear their stories and you read how Plexus helps and you know about inflammation and all these things, what do you do when they tell you the challenges that they're having? And they know my health story, but they don't want to know about Plexus. What do you do with that?
Are these people actually, are they friends with you on social media, or do you just know them in person?
Some of each.
Are they, my instinct would be to try a lighter approach. I don't know why, because really you're talking about my personality pre-Plexus. Somebody could have tried to tell me, that aloe vera was going to heal my burn. If I didn't know that's from childhood, I'd have been like, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, okay. I was one of those people, but I was all in it for the weight loss. And I know that's lame when I know very well that it's lame when someone's struggling with rheumatoid arthritis or some sort of mental like gut brain type thing. And you're like, but why don't you listen to me? But aside from prayer would be my first, I would make a list of names. I have a list of names of people that I like breaking things off, breaking spirit of stubborn off of people, the spirit of this off of people. I have a list of names and the things that I think that are plaguing them as far as like spiritually speaking. But trying to keep my answer short and concise. I think most people that want to stay mainstream will come out of mainstream for, say, a launch event. If you think that, for example, the one we're about to do, a belly buster challenge, and then let them be exposed third party by someone presenting themselves as an expert, and having what it is I present it as the expert, and then I have validation, comments. So a lighter, more fun approach. And I'm speaking to myself here because this happens to me all the time. But I have seen there be fruit from someone who has a debilitating disease, and they start Plexus because they want to lose some weight.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, I don't know that I could have reeled them in with anything else. I didn't even mean to reel them in with weight. Like, wouldn't have even approached them about their weight. Let's say it's someone who I go to for my hair, or I go to someone for my nails or something. And they're like, I saw that thing about the belly buster. And I'm like, this is how I'm going to reel you in. Okay. Because there's some element of our company is so much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
But most people are not yet more than that. Most people are just shallow on the shallow and on the superficial. I'm not calling them shallow. I'm just saying they just float on top. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think to reel them in, most of them, you got to grab them with something that's fun and lighthearted. That's why these online events are so successful, because you start talking all the other stuff and they're like, yeah, they learn by being these groups. People tell me all the time, I had no idea what you do. This is people like that I live next door to, or
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying they didn't know that I did Plexus, but that they get put in one of those groups and they're like, I had no idea. Like, and I'm like, I say it all the time. How could they not have any idea? But then they see other people validate me. And that's me. Here I am, a diamond ambassador, and driving a Lexus down the road they live on. And then it's like they see other people going, me too. My this went away, that went away. So I know that may not be a great bullet point answer, but it is the answer that I have for you right now. Okay.
Yeah. No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Okay. Christia, Shalina. We got some names on here that have not gone yet. Christy, are you up? Thank you, Kathleen.
Am I up? Whatever.
I mean, batter up. That's what I mean.
Oh.
Are you up next?
I don't care. I will be happy to wait or whatever.
Okay. Well, you go ahead.
Okay. You're going to have to ask me the questions.
Okay. Tell us about yourself and then tell us why you started.
Okay. Well, in case you've been a rock, because I live my life out loud. I live in Western Kentucky, and I'm right on the Mississippi River. I live on a farm in a one stoplight town. It's a very small town, and I went to culinary school when I was I was 35, and I had a catering business, which in the last year has been a bit just strictly baking, and we turned it into an Airbnb. I work on our family farm as an office manager. I sit with my uncle on Monday nights, who is special needs. He has a traumatic brain injury, and I've been sitting with him for 15 years. Every Monday night, and and let's see, and I do Plexus. So I have not much spare time. It has gotten busier probably in the last couple months than ever before, just because the dynamics of the family have been changing. I have 3 sisters, but they don't live here. I'm the only one that lives here, and we have an 1,800 acre farm. We row crop. Our son, he just graduated college and has come to be groomed to take over the farm. So let's see. I started Plexus because I had for the majority of my life, have always been overweight. Well, I say that, but when I look back at my high school pictures, I think, dang, I was not fat. I wish I was that size now, but I had 2 very thin sisters and I was not. I was what they would say voluptuous. The hourglass figure kind of thing. But I had probably very low confidence, low self-esteem. Always been a talker, kind of an extrovert, but the older I've gotten, a little bit more of an introvert. I enjoy my time alone. I love quality conversations. I do not like large Plexus events. They really make me uncomfortable. Like, it's embracing the awkward. I have to, if I go with my husband, we don't attend any of them except for the teaching or the sessions and things like that. We do nothing, none of the parties. No, none, absolutely zero. But if I don't go with my husband, because he's really an introvert, and that he doesn't like big crowds, so it's just easier to just go, yep, I'll go back to the room with you. But if we are with a group, then I enjoy it because I enjoy meeting the people that I get to talk to every week or have made the relationships with. So I joined because I wanted to lose some weight really quick, but I wanted to keep doing what I was doing. I mean, that's just the honest truth. I make cakes. That was my way of dealing with things, was probably eating. And I really didn't want to make a change. I just wanted to lose some weight. And then I had been in, oh my gosh, network marketing. I'd been in jewelry, oils, Pampered Chef stuff. Yeah, I was like, I never, ever, ever want to be in network marketing again. And my best friend just was like, just try this drink. It's really good. I think you'll like it. And so I did, and I did like the taste of it. She gave me 7 days. We went to Texas for an event, or we were going to go to Texas for an event. It was right before that. I didn't want to spend the money. I thought it was way too expensive. And I was amazed at, when I stopped drinking it, how I felt. And I was like, I got to find somebody who's got some. And so I had a friend who was using it, and I talked her into letting me buy 14 days worth so I could take it with me. Yeah. And then just paid her for it so she could order some more. And so we went to San Antonio for an award that my dad got in conservation. And when we came back, which is funny, it actually, we got snowed in Nashville, which is where my sister lives. And so my friend, she had no clue. I got online and joined and signed. And I told her, I was like, okay, I did it. And she was like, what? Like, she had no idea. And I went silver the first month. I blocked people who were Plexus before. Like, everybody was doing it around here. And I was like, these people are stupid. And I do not want to look like that, there was like 25 of us. And I mean, we're in a smaller town than Sonia Dudley's town.
Wow.
And yeah, so there was like, they were everywhere. Like, you couldn't shake a stick at it, is what we say.
Yeah.
and um, and everybody has stopped. Like nobody does it anymore here, and they've all gone to something else. They've all swapped over, or have quit completely.
Yeah.
And so I have lost weight. My health testimony was I had terrible anxiety, bad cravings, overweight. I haven't lost the weight like I wanted to. But you have to change some things too, and stress, all of that. You have to get sleep, and I wasn't. And so I'm making myself go to bed earlier and get up earlier now. I make exceptions on Wednesdays. And so,
Yeah.
so, I no longer have the anxiety. I had no clue what gut health was. And it's very funny because I probably like Plexus, honestly, mostly because of the friendships that I've made. I feel like I have found people that get me, and I don't feel like the oddball. And so I have made some of the best friends I have through Plexus. And my tribe. I mean, genuine, like when we go to convention and I get to talk with people and spend time with them, I'm like, you would never know that we've never met, because we talk. And so I really enjoy that. And I love helping people. I'm so yellow. I've always been a people pleaser. I'm sensing a trend here with a lot of us here on this. And so definitely people pleaser. I got stuck in my head with what people thought. And I have to say that even sometimes, like I've gone through the back office thing, I've gone through everything, and I've stayed consistent, and I went gold. It took me a while, but I've been at gold for 3.5 years. And I've been in almost 5 years now. I was listening to Bob Heilig's, yes, Linda. I see it popping up. But I listened to his thing about how network marketing as we know it has changed yesterday. And it was so very good. And I have heard him say it several times about how network marketing is a personal development program with a compensation plan. And that is so true, because I have grown and matured and changed my spiritual life. We need to change. Your middle name needs to be like Catalyst. And because I think you've been a catalyst, which I think that's so cool. That has to be so heartwarming to know that the influence in the kingdom that you have is just so great. And it's fun. And to be able to say that and to go, you know what, because of that, even we are now becoming influencers in the kingdom. So it doesn't stop there. It's like we are learning how to do that also. Yeah. And I love Elaine's story. So the social, which is funny, but the social aspect part of it, the calls, just the calls that we have keep me here. I don't know what my long-term goal is with it, because probably there's just some things too I'm trying to figure out with the Lord of what he wants me to do. And I don't see myself leaving. I probably need to do a little bit more work about being a leader. I've always said I'm not a leader, and I don't think that's necessarily true. I just need to, I have not figured out a mojo for me whenever it comes to having a team. I have a lot of customers. If everybody was if all of my team were active, I would be almost a Ruby, which is weird to say. But I don't see myself being a leader because it's easier for me just to do it myself than to have to explain it or handhold. And I don't want to handhold. And I didn't start out that way.
Because I just got a prophetic word for you. And
Okay.
Okay. The riches are in the niches. I think, I know somebody else says it. It's not my thing, but the word I heard, the word I actually heard in my head was broad spectrum. And I was like, broad spectrum. She tries to play it nice, like across the board, broad spectrum, and appeal to, to whoever, not to everybody, but to whoever and everyone. And I don't even see many of your posts. So I'm not saying that I've seen this or whatever, but I have done this too. But the more specific, especially with as unique as you are, and I'm saying you're not a whole lot different than a lot of us on this call, but we are very
unique.
Very unique. And the more that I have gotten more specific and like fine-tuned, not just who I am, but showing who I am, the more, like you said a minute ago, something about catalyst, all these things. If I tried to keep these calls and everything more like broad spectrum, across the board, whatever, the more I would attract people who come and go, are not interested long term. They wouldn't see me as a leader because I can only lead my own tribe. And my tribe is you weirdos, misfits, whatever we want to call it. And I don't really look at us like that, but I'm saying I know we're very unique. And so fine tuning, I just heard broad spectrum. I think we all are a little too broad spectrum. I think we all should, I think hooty hoo is what you say when you see the cops, but I think we should hooty hoo our people. Like, I think we should be like, hooty hoo, and listen for the hooty hoo back. You know what I mean? Like, this is who I am. I wear this bright, vivid, vibrant purple or whatever, and I'm listening back for other people who do the same. And it doesn't seem like a great example of this is the Loftus, Michael and Lane Loftus, that are on Krista Deary's team, on my team.
Yeah, they ride around in an RV.
Yeah. And I mean, their business is exploding because the riches are in the niches there. Like, that's a little niche. And those people are like moths to a flame to what they do because they want to do it. That's what they want to do. And
right. My cousins follow them. We watched them in YouTube last week because they love RVing. Yes. Yep. Well, it's interesting that you say that. I think through this, and I remember when I first started that, I remember specifically, it's one of the few times that I can say I feel like I heard an audible voice. But now that I've grown more, I just know that I did hear it, but I heard it more distinct because I wasn't aware of what it felt like to hear the voice of God. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it was so like, there was no questioning. Most of the time I was like, is that me? Is that him? Who is, questioning, but I knew that it was not me.
Yeah.
And he told me that this was an answer to my prayers. But at the time it was all financial. But I've had to learn, like, I have focused on making money, quote unquote, the money, getting more people, things like that. And I here lately, probably after convention, because we've talked about this, but I have gotten to the point now where it's like I needed one more person. I haven't signed people. I just had some people come to me and go, can I get this cheaper? And I was like, yes, you can, and they signed up, and I needed one more person. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to hustle myself. I'm not doing that anymore. I started to put a post out there. My thing is, I want to love people and just let it be organic and not working at it. I mean, not working at it, but I want to love people, what they need, they may not need to sign up right now. They may not need our products right now. They just need to have somebody or whatever. And if I quit focusing on the desperation of trying to make the money out of debt, and help my family, then it's more enjoyable for me. But I think I feel like I hustled myself there. It started out great, but then I started following people, and I started, I've had to unfollow. I have unfollowed almost every Plexus person except for this group of people that are my true friends.
Yeah.
Because I was comparing myself and feeling less than, and realizing that, I think in the last several months, especially, that the Lord has been, I've been seeking to what my identity is. So I don't really know who my people are, except for I love this group of people. I love the uniqueness of who we are. And so learning to be okay with that. Like tonight, I shared, which I know we're a little off task here, but for the first time I shared like a Doug Addison, I did like a watch party and I did the whole thing. But I have been so scared to let my flag fly high that I am not so, it's not about rules and regulation and religion for me anymore.
Yeah.
And there's so much more out there. And I think that there are people that feel the same way. They're just probably scared like I was.
Yeah.
So my goal inadvertently with Plexus is, yes, the income is great. It's actually helping us to afford, because I'm paying for me and Galen, and we just keep trying everything, and so to be able to have our products, to have the extra income, and I would love for it to grow, but just to kind of figure out who I am and to be okay with being in network marketing. It is not network marketing that bothers me. It's the network marketers that bother me.
Yeah.
You cannot ride two horses at one time, flip-flopping around, spamming people, and I don't want to be associated with that. And so there's where I struggle. And I want it to be more of a conversation and let me help. And I do have a true, you guys have seen it, I do have a true desire to, like, weight loss is a fad. People gain, lose, they want it gone yesterday. They'll, they want it for an event and then they'll go back. I really want to help people with gut health. That stuff is life changing. And that's, you may not lose all of the weight, but it starts there, and it's significant, Okay, my favorite color is red and pink. And which is funny because I wear mostly gray and black. But I love red lipstick, and I like pink lipstick, although I haven't found a good pink one, which I quit wearing. But see, I'm really trying to find that identity of me and who I am, and to quit trying to please everybody. And so it started with the hair. So, so if I had to ask you a question, gosh, that's funny, because that's a hard one for me, because I'm very grateful to have you as a friend. So I know you a little bit,
Yeah.
But if I had to ask you a question, I think it would be how, and you probably have answered this before, you are very much like a lot of us on here, yellow. But as far as how was there a point, like when you started, where you're like, I don't know how to have a team. I don't know what I'm doing. Did you just start doing videos and just say, okay, we're in a team thing? Or Is it because you have Jetty, who is a little bit more of the different personality that helps with that? Like, you guys, did it take a team? Can you do it without a team? You know.
I see what you're saying. My initial focus was not at all on a team. In fact, I didn't understand the compensation plan, and that was probably a bonus for me, because I wasn't interested in, at the time, I wasn't interested in leading people anywhere, except for I wanted people to try the products. That was my biggest thing. I just wanted to, the way I look at this, and I know this is very oversimplified, but I still look at it this way. I look at it like, if I can get the products in people's hands and they can try them, the rest of it does itself as far as the stick-to-itiveness. Now, that doesn't make them a leader, but if they start the products and the products change their life, they're going to be around forever. If they start the products and the products change their life and they're not around forever, then they're kind of nuts. Like, that's the way I see it. And I also look at it like, there's a money back guarantee. So I sling this stuff around like coffee. I'm like, you haven't tried that? Why didn't you try that? Didn't you try that when we were talking? I mean, if we're talking about my massage therapist, she's telling me something she's got going on. Well, why didn't you try ProBio? Have you tried ProBio? And I also don't sell it like I sell it, if that makes sense. I'm like, you're crazy. If your mom sold it, you should buy it from her. If your neighbor sold it, you should buy it from her. I feel so strongly about the products. And also, I think that collectively Plexus people forget. And the reason we forget how awful our mental status and our health was. Even if we have lost weight and gained it back, or even if whatever, if you had to go for 6 weeks without your products, you'd be a mess. And you'd be like the rest of America. And none of us want to be like that. And that is something that is in the back of my mind always. So initially, when people started joining my team, I was like, and they started asking me questions. I'm like, girl, I mean, I didn't say this to people, but in the back of my brain, I'm thinking, girl, I don't know. Look it up. Work your business. Not because I needed them to work their business. I meant work it yourself. I don't know. I wasn't looking at leadership at all. It wasn't something that had been modeled for me. No one was leading me anywhere. And I would think, why are they asking me questions? Why don't they just go sell it themselves? That's the way I felt about it. I'm not saying that's a healthy way to feel about it, but there was a freedom in that for a yellow personality, because all I was interested in is getting them on the products, not working a business for them. If that makes sense. Like, if they couldn't make the business work, I was like, sorry, you don't know how to look up the same questions I'm having to look up for you. Now,
yeah, see, I have to get better at that. That's part of my people pleasing is, here, let me, as you know, as a let me do that for you, so you will.
Now I put everything out on a platter for people, and I honestly think there was more momentum when I was like, I don't know, I don't have time. I mean, I don't have any more time than you do. Do you know what I'm saying? To people, I didn't say any of that. But the way I felt about it, and probably sometimes reflected it, was it's in your back office or whatever, rather than bending over backwards for people like I don't have anything else to do in the world but look up what you need. Now, if you're on here and you've asked me questions before that I've looked up for you or whatever, don't feel bad about that, because now I do look at it like it is my full-time job. I cater more to people, and my leadership went from almost a 0 to what it is now. And now I have really, I had a diamond tell me at a meeting the other day that if you've ever looked at the levels of leadership, John Maxwell, like level 1 leader, level 2 leader, they had us take a test type thing and evaluate. And it was like, are you a level 3 leader? Are you a level 4? Where people follow you because of this. People follow you because of it. And really it comes down to influence. Jetty told me when we left, he's like, you're probably a level 5 leader. And I was like, well, my questions didn't really pan out that way, because the questionnaire was really tailored to corporate type jobs. But then I had another diamond when we were sitting at dinner say, you're probably a level 5 leader, aren't you? I said, well, I answered her the same way. The questionnaire didn't pan out that way. I didn't answer enough with an affirmative on one portion of it. But thinking about that, the difference in what I just described to you about how I felt about leadership 7 or 8 years ago, and being able to affirmatively say, yeah, I have leadership qualities that are packed with influence now. A lot of it the influence, I believe, has a lot to do with the fact that I march confidently to my own drum. And it a little bit like where it's like, okay, I'm slinging this water all over the place. I'll get to the mess. I'll clean up the mess later. It's like, I don't bend. I don't bend to try to match. Now I had to get to this place, but now I don't bend to try to match and please people. And like I have more influence in Plexus corporate and more influence among other leaders in Plexus, like on the Diamond page. I have more influence there than I have at my Thanksgiving dinner with my family. Okay. And that is because people see me in the true essence of who I am rather than how I grew up acting or whatever, because I've had so much growth. But there's been so much to overcome, so many videos, but there's some sort of switch that you have to make, like a flipping a switch type switch, that, because I can't remember who said earlier that they didn't say this, but like they're a student of personal growth. And I think we all are, but there is a switch that has to flip to where rather than obtaining or collecting information, when you start putting it to use, that's when things start to change. For me, that is when things started changing. When I started visualizing, when I started speaking life over myself, rather than just retaining that and sharing that with other people, hey, you should try this, or hey, you should try this. When I started implementing those steps, when I started implementing the steps that I had learned and literally putting them out there for the world, and I'm going to tell you what, the niche thing is, I think, huge for so many of us, for us to be completely who we are. That's why comparison, not only does it rob your joy, I think it robs you of your business, because the broad spectrum thing, because I know God was really speaking to me, still speaking to me about that, even for myself. The more I try to run my business like everybody runs their business, the more I try to make my Facebook posts look like other people's Facebook posts, the more I want to be on Instagram and look like I'm Instagram, all these things. The further I get away from the true who I am, and it may be true who some of you are, that you do all those things. But for me, the more I try to look like a filtered photo and look like there's an orange wash and a glaze and look like, I have this, whatever, there's a rug behind my stuff, and it's all, the more I try to do that, the further I'm getting more broad spectrum and not calling in those people that would really be attracted, not just to the business, but the culture of what we have.
Yeah, that really resonates with me. And I was going to ask, when you're saying broad spectrum, I was like, so are you telling me that what you're hearing is narrow it down?
Yeah, narrow it down. The riches are in the niches. Yeah.
And I think that we're all
critical,
on that. No.
Yeah.
I think that we're all on that journey. I will say that through this, there's been so much growth. He was right when it's a personal development with a compensation plan.
Yeah.
And a bunch of tax write-offs,
Yeah.
So, and I'm like Elaine, I have been. My problem has sometimes been implementing some of the things that I learned, because I become like a learning junkie.
Yeah.
And so, I
put it up and think we're going to use it someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think that something has switched probably in the last couple of months. I did have to step back. Disappointments, things changing, and just kind of start asking myself, well, what am I mean, I've taken some classes that have helped me to narrow some things down. But to just go, what is it that I really want? And I don't really know, like, this is a tool for me. I do enjoy helping people, but it's quite funny that a company with no intention of, I'm sure, bringing people closer to Christ has done that for so many people. Like, my relationship with the Lord has grown. Well, it's done a complete 180 for one thing. And I've gotten closer, and it's changed. And I think that finding out that will allow me to figure out how I want to use this vehicle to help me do that. And I'm getting closer. I'm kind of just like, okay, I'm waiting for those downloads. Just give me some strategy to do and to, be more of myself. And so that's a little bit of confirmation for me. The riches are in the niches. I need to remember that one. I've never heard that one.
Yeah. I just heard it recently and I was like, that's so true. I think they taught it to us at corporate. And then when I started really talking to Michael and Elaine in Maui, I was like, ooh, they are a great, they're a great example of seeing. You think, gosh, if all I reach out is to the people who do what we do, that can't be very many people. But as her husband so perfectly put it, he goes, oh, they want to be able to do what we do. They come to us because they want the business. And he's like, they don't start because of the products. They want the business because they've been watching YouTube videos about people who RV and they want to be able to do that freely. And they're like, how do you do it? Teach me how. And I'm like, oh my gosh. He's like, they just come to us and sign themselves up because they're ready. They want to learn. And I'm like, that's because if they had stayed broad spectrum, they would have pulled their tribe in like that.
Yeah. In the 100X thing that I've been doing, which it's a year-long thing. So, but
walking over here. Go ahead.
That's fine. One of the things that they have really, really stressed is your who. And we say our who, but I've been so general. They're like, no, you need to get to like an age group, whether it's male or female, or if it's if it's families with special needs, or if it's this, or if it's that. And I haven't quite figured that out yet. I really haven't, because obviously it's not people that want to lose weight, because I don't live that. I'm not the gym kind of, no, that's always been my struggle, and trying to win over people that don't want to spend their money, but say, I can't afford it. But then they go and do something. And I'm like, really? Those aren't my people. Yeah. And so figuring out who they are, I'm not quite there yet. And sometimes I have to admit, it's very frustrating or embarrassing, or I hate to admit it, that even at almost 5 years, I have not figured that out. But I'm like, but I'm still here. I'm still here. Yeah. I am slow and steady like the turtle, Yeah. I didn't quit, and because I can be a quick start, and not finish things. And I don't want that to be who I am. I refuse to believe that that's who I am.
Yeah.
I have great ideas, but there are things that are important to me. I mean, that I will stick with, even when it's hard. And so, that's probably why I didn't go, I'll go first, because I was thinking, man, I hate answering these questions because I don't have these great answers, because I have not gotten to that point yet. I mean, what I have said every year, I'm going to go to Maui, I'm going to do this. And this year I was like, you know what? I am not focusing on that because it has brought disappointment. And then I'm like, I let myself down and it's like self-sabotage. And so I'm walking out my play life like I'm walking out my Christian walk. I'm going to focus on loving people.
Yeah. I love it. Hey, Linda, are you willing and ready? Okay. Let me unmute you, girl.
Hello. There's not very many of us, but y'all pretty much know me. I don't think I know Kathleen. Have you been on here before, Kathleen? Okay. So I am from West Texas. I live in Levelland, which is 30 miles west of Lubbock. And let's see. What are the questions again? I know we've been talking, but
just tell me about you and then how you got started with Plexus.
Okay. So I grew up in a broken home, and my dad left when I was 8 years old. Left my mom for a younger woman. So grew up in a single parent home. She raised us 4 kids the best she could, but we were home a lot because she worked all the time. And anyways, I was married, got divorced, he was mainly verbally and mentally abusive. That really impacted me in ways that you can only imagine. But even growing up, I felt like I was criticized for every little thing. And it really, everything that people said to me just stayed in my head. You know, you're too fat. And I identify with what Christy is saying and Elaine. Like, I think that I was always this plump girl. When I go back and look at my photos, I'm like, I really was hot. Like I wish I had that body now, you know? And I was like, I had that Coca-Cola figure, but even as I was developing, I had this one aunt that's married into our family, like 2 of them would always comment on everything. It's kind of like they were the two little gossipers in the corner talking about the family, and they would comment, you know, about my breast coming, or, you know, being big chested, very young, and, you know, and things like that. And it made me very self-conscious. So I always walked, you know, with hump and you know, didn't want to be seen, because I just thought the first thing people are going to see are those and make assumptions about me or just make fun of me. And so through going through school and stuff. And so anyways, so I got married, like I said, got divorced, whatever. And then my oldest was diagnosed with autism back when he was around, I think when he was around 2, they diagnosed him with ADD with autistic tendencies. I didn't even know what autism was, and went through that whole bit of trying to figure it out. And the awareness was nowhere near out there like it is now. You hear about it all the time and stuff. And so, you know, y'all know Christia and Laura, y'all know my story with Chris and the trials that we've been through with him and stuff. And now he's in a group home 9 hours away from us, which has been a challenge. But when Plexus came into my life, I initially signed up. I was going back because I kept thinking it was 2016, but I initially signed up in 2014. And this is so crazy because I actually thought about this morning when I was talking to God. And I started thinking about my life. And I was like, it's so ironic. I don't know if it's ironic, but I don't know what it is about October. October 2014 is when I first joined Plexus, but I didn't know anything about leaky gut. And my upline I don't think she knew about leaky gut either. I initially got with her for the weight loss. That's what I wanted. And I was a home health nurse at the time, and my schedule was crazy busy. And so my big thing was weight loss and my stomach problems and my hormones. I was on the verge of, or no, I already had my hysterectomy. Sorry, I already had my hysterectomy, and had went through all that. So I suffered with depression and anxiety, I think, from very young. When I think back on my life, I had a lot of that. But there was no one to really talk to about it, and I just dealt with it. And so anyway, so my upline, I saw her, I met her on Facebook. I thought we were friends. I thought she was someone else. I don't even know who sent who the friend request, but she's talking about Plexus. She went to Leaders Retreat. And then I think she had won all the prizes and was in, Orlando, and she won, it was convention, she won winner's dinner, all this other stuff, and she was talking about it, and I'm like, what is this girl talking about? So I asked her, what is Plexus? And she goes, I'll message you. And then she told me, oh, it's weight loss. And I'm like, or, you know, well, it's to help. I said, is this another weight loss thing? And I was already going, yeah, I ain't gonna do it, because I've done Weight Watcher, or not Weight Watchers, I've done Herbalife, I did Advocare, I did what they called LA Weight Loss. I don't even think that's around anymore. And none of that worked for me. Advocare literally made me sick to my stomach, like wanting to puke. And Herbalife made me pass out. Like, I don't know what was in it, but I would take the shakes and then I would have these dizzy spells or whatever. So I did not really give her the time of day. I was real skeptic, and I was like, yeah, I don't think so. And, but then I was like, 6 months before I got married in 2015, I was like, you know what, I'm going to hit her up. Maybe it'll work. Well, got the stuff. And, but because I was so busy being a home health nurse, when I would go out to the field, I'd forget it half the time. And so I wasn't consistent and whatnot. But my auto ship was on, and it was back when the auto ships it was the triplex, and then you got like the 7-day trial of the Slim. This was the original Slim. So it kept coming every month. I never turned it off. And I didn't care, whatever. And then I was getting married, and I finally, my husband, or my soon to be husband, was like, hey, the cabinet is literally full of this Slim. Like, are you going to drink it, or what are you going to do with it? And I was like, yeah, I guess we can start drinking it, you know, whatever. So we started drinking it. And I mean, we drank it every day until we ran out, because he wanted to drink it too. He's like, I like this stuff. He goes, what is it for? And I go, I really don't know. I think it's to lose weight. I don't know. So we drank it. People were asking me, and I really was like, it's Plexus. It's Slim. People say it helps you lose weight. They're like, how much have you lost? I was like, I don't know. But I wasn't eating right either. I was eating junk. And so I turned off my auto ship, and I left it alone. Well, then, you know, Chris was septic in 2015. We brought him home, and it was my daughter's birthday, and we had gone to eat. Pictures were taken, and I saw my photo, and I burst into tears. I did not like who I saw. I looked awful, but I was already going through, my depression had taken I don't know. It was so bad that I had suicidal thoughts. Like, I wanted to leave the world. I wanted to take my kids with me. Like, how was I going to do this? Because I wasn't going to leave them with me. And I didn't act out on it, but those were just, I had this ugly thinking in my head. And my poor mother, because she knew I was suffering, and I would text her, today's not a good day. I would just tell her, I don't know why I'm sad. I just can't stop being sad. You know, when I was a single mom, before I met my husband, I would always pray to God, always pray that I could just be home with my kids. I was like, I just wish that I had a chance to, I don't know, if I just wanted to be the mom that could stay home and be there for her kids, because I had worked forever. Like, it seemed like I had been working from the age of 12, and I was never home and stuff. And so, ironically, I guess you should be careful what you wish for, because that's exactly what happened when Chris got sick. John and I agreed we got to get him out of there, and I quit my job as a nurse to stay home with him, and did that and again, Chloe's birthday's in October. Hers is October 10th, so she'll be 15 next week. And Lori, she was seeing that you were posting it was your birthday month, because and she goes, when's her birthday? When's her birthday? Mine's the 10th. So yours is the 14th, right?
Yeah.
My friend's is the 14th.
There she is. Girl, whenever we get on these Zoom calls, she'll be here. My kids come out here. My husband, he's at work right now, but when he's off, they're listening to you. So anyway, but yeah, so what was I saying? We got Chris out, and at that time, like I said, I was home. You would think I was married. We had a beautiful home. I had it all. And people were like, you're so lucky, and now you get to stay home. But I was like, well, it sounds good, but it's not. It happened in the way that I wish it never had, because it took Chris getting sick to do that. And he was, there was so much going on there. And so anyways, when I saw that photo on my phone of how I looked, I told my husband, I said, you know what? I'm going to call my upline on Thursday. I don't care how much money I have in the bank. I'm going to get back on Plexus. So I got back on Plexus. that's when she started talking to me about leaky gut, that she had learned about leaky gut. And I looked at her like, this isn't a legit thing, because they didn't teach us this in nursing school, you know. They don't teach this. Right. And I looked at her like, you don't know what you're talking about. That's just the internet, you know, whatever. And so those were my thoughts, like, seriously. And so I started talking to some of my friends, and they're nursing friends, and they're like, what is that? And I go, I don't know. That's what they're telling me. And they're like, and they were the same thing. That's not a legit thing. And I was like, I don't think it is, you know, because we didn't know, you know. And so anyways, we get on Plexus, and I started doing it at first. I wasn't in it for the business. I joined as a wholesale ambassador because I wanted the cheapest way. I told her what I was experiencing. She told me what to try. So I got on the Triplex plus the X Factor the second time around. And that was in October. Again, October. And the crazy thing is, when we brought Chris out of the state school and brought him home, that was October 2015. A year later, I joined Plexus again. And so I don't know what it is with October. So anyway, I joined again, and she kept trying to tell me, you know, do you want to work the business? And I kept telling her no. And so it just so happened in our town, we had they were having a vendor show thing, and she was like, hey, you want to come up here with me and help me out? You know, just hear me talk to people. And I didn't realize what she was doing to me, but she lit the fire. Yeah, I was like, okay. So I go, and I'm listening to her, but I'm learning too, because she kept talking more about leaky gut and the thyroid and all this. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm on thyroid medicine, you know, and, you know, all this other stuff. And so I started listening to her. And then at one point, my husband had said something about, well, I don't know if we can afford this Plexus. And I was trying to look at him, and I literally got in his face and said, there is no way you're going to make me stop. This is the best I've ever felt. And you've even said it, that I'm happier, that my mood swings are better. So don't do this to me. Don't take this away from me. Like, I was crying. He goes, okay. I'm sorry. We'll figure it out. So I tell this to my upline, and she's like, you know, if you enroll 3 people, you become silver, and that can cover your products. And she's going on and on just to cover you, because at that time it was just me. And it went from there. And so, you know, we all have our own testimonies, every single one of us, all 3 of my kids, my husband, myself, even my mom. My mom's an ambassador. She doesn't work the business, but it took her, I joined October. It took her that fall in February to finally join. She was one of my 3 that helped me achieve silver. And she has a whole slew of health problems, from psoriatic arthritis to diverticulitis. She has a pacemaker. She had kidney cancer years ago, the year I started nursing school. So she had all these things going on, and it finally took her to that long to, like me, to say, okay. And it was crazy. She would not listen to me. She would listen to her doctor. And she came home and told me, well, my doctor's telling me to get on this probiotic. It's refrigerated. And she was like, so it must be better because it goes in the refrigerator, right? And I just looked at her and I was like, no, it's not. And then I said, well, how much is it? She goes, well, I don't know, but he gave me this coupon for $200 off. I said, my gosh, how much is that probiotic? She's like, well, I don't know. And I was like, Mom, please just try the Plexus. You have a 60-day money back guarantee. I will, you know. And so she did. And my mom still takes Plexus. And when the Active came out, we came back from convention. I kept telling her, Mom, you got to try the Active. She gets all the emails, and I handle her account for her. I place her, she tells me what she wants, and I do it for her because she doesn't get on the computer. And it was so funny because I kept telling her about Active, and she goes, well, what is it? And I said, well, it's for energy. And with her having a pacemaker, you know, I was hesitant for her to try the Edge. She actually took Edge one day, and she goes, I didn't feel a thing. And I was like, I'm sorry. So I said, let me give you a couple sticks, see if you like it. And the following day, I hadn't heard from her all day long. I thought, well, I guess she didn't do it. And that night I finally called her. I said, hey, Mom, how are you doing? And she's like, hey, how are you? And she's talking to me really I don't know, like something was wrong. I said, something wrong? She goes, no. And I said, well, what's wrong? And she goes, I'm tired. And I said, why? And she goes, well, I took that drink you gave me. I mowed the grass. I did 3 loads of laundry. I did this. I did that. She goes, and now I'm tired and I'm going to go to bed. She was like, can you go ahead and order me 2 more bags of that stuff? I really like to get some. So it's really funny. So, I mean, I love it. My mom, she has such an awesome testimony too. She doesn't do social media or anything like that, but it's been a godsend. Again, like what Christy is saying and Elaine is saying about being in Plexus, because it's crazy. My best friend from the 6th grade kept wanting to do it. Her daughter-in-law does it. She's a gold ambassador and she lives in a town 20 minutes from us, but I think it's mainly her aunt that got her to that rank. I don't know if they actively work the business. I don't even know the lady. But she kept wanting to get on. I kept telling her about it. She needed it, because she was having a lot of health problems. And she kept telling me that she would, and then she never did. And then I was really hurt because she started losing all this weight. And I thought, what is she doing? You know, whatever. Well, she ended up joining another company through the credit union, through the school. The people that own it were doing it. And they're doing, what is it, Zingular? I think it's what it's called.
Yeah.
And that's what they were doing and stuff. And so I was like, I asked her and I was like, so, well, cause then all of a sudden her upline or whatever that signed her up did this big post about my friend, and it's a before and after. My friend lost, oh my gosh, what, 60 something pounds, and looks amazing. And now she's in these marathons, she's running and all this, but that really hurt me. Cause I was like, wow, like, why didn't she trust me enough? And from what I understand, it's expensive to get started with that company and stuff. And so anyway, the crazy thing is you guys on my Zoom calls and that I see at convention and things like that, y'all are my friends, because it seems like I hardly have any friends now in this town. I don't know what it is. And there are people that I know, like my daughter's friends' parents and stuff like that. But the friends that I've had, it's kind of like they've just disappeared. And so I'm kind of like, well, I think about that saying that sometimes God removes people out of your life that aren't, I don't know the saying, but you get what I'm saying. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
And stuff. And with all the stuff that went on with Christopher, that was what I thought. And I realized it because I wanted it so bad to have that time with Jesus, to have that time to meditate and talk to him and pray to him and have all that time to connect. And it was just so chaotic. And I couldn't, there was no time for that. And regardless of how hard it is, I realized that was probably, I know, and not even probably, because I've told y'all the story. I know it was God that said, here we go. We found him a place. This is where he's going to be. And he's doing wonderful. He really, really is. We were going to go see him this weekend, but we're going to have to go in 2 weeks because my car, they're having to change out the alternator. But anyway, so because of following you, Miss Lori Harrison, I too have gotten closer to Jesus. I cannot pray without saying, Holy Spirit, fire, fall on my family. Holy Spirit, fire, fall. That I say that all the time. I do not speak negative. And if my family, I'm like, take that back. Don't say that. Change your words. That's not true. You're not this. Don't say that about yourself. Or, oh, we're never going to, no. Change that around. Turn it around, because I really believe that words have power, the power of the tongue. And I'm doing things and trying to do more affirmations. My bathroom mirror, you should see it. I have up there that I am forgiven. I have alignment, purpose, and I have it up there written in dry. What do you call it? Dry. The dry erase.
Right.
There you go. And all over my mirror. And Chloe teases me, well, I can't even see my hair, doing my hair, because all your words are right there. And stuff. And so I think I have to redo it to where it goes around instead of a list like that. But it is, this learning to love myself is something that I was never taught from anyone. I've my whole life, even my family, if they would be appalled if I was even saying this, but like my sister, my mom, my older brother, like I really listen to what they're saying, like the words that they say now. And I'm just like, oh, it's so negative. And you know, and it's like trying to talk to them and make them understand where I'm coming from. It's not even like we're on the same level. So I feel alone a lot, because I'm like, I can't connect even with my own family in that way. And even though, yes, my mom has taken Plexus, there's still that negativity just because my grandmother, her mom was the same way.
Yeah.
And it's hard, kind of like what you did with your mom. Like, I know you've said that your mom had that too. And so it's really hard. And and I think about it, like you said one time too, we live in a different time than they did. There was no motivational journaling, you know, Rachel Hollis, John Maxwell, all these people.
Right.
And, you know, and it's different. So I have to, when she starts with her saying stuff, in my mind, I'm like, God, Jesus, help her. And I'm just like, okay, Mom, okay, I got you. Because to me, it's not even worth getting into it's not worth it, because she'd be hurt. And she is one booty hurt. And that's another thing I'm learning, not to take things personal.
Yeah.
When people, you know, if they say, I'm like, okay, sorry you feel that way, you know, and not feel victimized. It's a choice that we have to give into that. And the more that I choose not to, the more peace that I'm finding.
Yeah.
And more peace that I'm finding with even people not wanting to, I guess, be my friend. And honestly, I don't know if that's the case with some of them, because I feel like I have been unfriended on some, because I'm like, I'm trying to tag a friend. I thought we were friends, you know, and I'm looking, I'm like, I guess they unfriended me, you know, what did I do wrong? And so I kind of just like, oh, well, because I can't worry about that. I'm just going to worry about the day-to-day stuff. And my biggest thing is I don't post enough. I know I don't. And going live, like even talking here to you guys, I'm comfortable with you, but I still get nervous. And I'm like, because it's just, I don't know, talking to the cameras. I don't know what it is. I mean, if we're in person, that wouldn't bother me. But to be on camera, I don't know what it is. And I'm looking at myself going, oh my goodness, my hair, I don't have makeup on. And I'm like critiquing myself. And that's something I have to work on to stop doing, because Chloe does it too. I mean, she does it and I hate it. And I'm like, girl, you're so beautiful. And she's like, well, you are too, Mom. I look like you. So, you know, you're beautiful too. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess, you know? So anyway, but, the question that I have for you is the Plexus business. I see people, because this whole thing with compliance, you know, like we're not supposed to say certain stuff, but I still see a lot of people post things that were like disease, or they're mentioning stuff. And I'm like, oh, compliance is going to shut them down. Do they not know they're not supposed to? But then other people are doing it. And then I even see some of the people that are higher ranks doing it. So like I don't know, like, is it okay? Is it not okay? I know we're not supposed to, but I see some people doing it, and it's not, like, even in some stories, you know? So I don't know.
Officially, the answer is no, we're not supposed to. I see the same thing that you do.
Uh-huh.
And it seems it's kind of feels like it's a bite in the butt, because you go, well, look what I get for being a rule follower.
Yeah.
And like you see somebody that you see lots of commentary, people asking questions on their posts and such. I went through a season, you might call it a season, of 3 or 4 years of being mad about compliance, about all of that.
Uh-huh.
And I've recently, about last year or so, come to an acceptance in my heart. I do know that you can mention disease names. It depends on what you say about it. Like if you say, I healed my gut and then it went away, you don't mention the Plexus product. I see that happen a lot. And those people have even turned it in on the Plexus My Story portion of the back office.
Yeah.
Get it approved. So there's not other than there is some bless and release that happens with all of that, because I see Diamond ambassadors and just straight up post things that I know that they know they're not supposed to do. And then I see them get comments on it, and I think, okay, well, I have a choice in this, and my choice is I can choose to just rock on. I don't mean choose to do the same, because I just have to choose to move on, basically. I don't really have a great answer for that other than no, officially we're not supposed to do it. There are, if you have time on your hands, there are creative ways to get your point across. I had to basically get out of the butt hurt season of watching it happen and then knowing I couldn't really do it without getting caught. And I decided to focus my time more on creative ways to say things that I knew that I could say. And that has made a huge difference for me when I do. And also, we're a little more liberal in our groups, our Beauty Inside and Out group. There's a lot more truth telling going on inside those groups. So putting out the best you can, fishing for people, and then getting them in those groups where we can be a little more free because they don't have eyes on us. So I'm not really supposed to say that either, but I'm just being honest.
Right. Well, I figured that they are, I mean, and stuff, but, and it's crazy too, because like, I love my upline. I was at her house today, we talked, but she's kind of, I mean, she straight up told me the other day, or it's been about a month or so, that she just gives up on the business. I mean, she's still an ambassador. She's still ordering her products. I'm under her. She has other people that order from her. But as far as like getting on Facebook and doing a post, like she may say, hey, I finally did it. I've replaced my soda, and she's got a picture of her pink drink or active or whatever, but she's like, I put it out there. If people want to ask me, they can, but I'm not going to like start messaging them and tell them about, hey, you can enroll for free, blah, 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 or whatever. She's like, because if they want to know, she says, then I'll answer them. But other than that, she's like, I'm really not, she used to have the vinyl on her car too, and she took it all down. And now she just has like a little Plexus sticker on the corner. And and that's it. But she's busy. She's got 2 other businesses. So anyway, she just said, I'm just so tired of the chase. I'm just so tired of the hustle. And she goes, and she was, I mean, very honestly said, I don't know if I want to be a leader or be that, like, rank up that way. She goes, because I don't know. She goes, I think that I would be overwhelmed with that responsibility of being a jewel. Because she was, I mean, when we had contests before, she would hustle and achieve them, because she liked the competition. She liked a challenge, but she's like, I just don't know if I want to be that, have that responsibility of having a team, and stuff. And I just kind of looked at her and I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So anyways, I don't really have anyone active working the business. I still have people that are ambassadors. They order here and there. I've got maybe 3 or 4 that order consistently every month because they have their subscription on and stuff. And there's like those 3 or 4 that they call me and say, hey, can you change this order and add this? Or I don't need any more slim. Can you add me this or whatever? So I do that for them because they're busy. They don't have the time, or they don't know how to, they're like, I don't know how to do it. You do it for me. And I'm like, okay. So, and then I screenshot it, tell them how much it's going to be, and they're like, okay, good, or change the date that it's going to run or whatever. So I do that for them. But I don't know. And and then too, like when I'm out in public, I kind of feel like people avoid me because they think I'm going to talk about Plexus, they're like, oh, here she is. And people that I have said, yeah, I'll get with you, whatever. And stuff. And I see them and I'm like, hey, how are you? They're like, oh, good. And then they're making a beeline for the door. And I'm like, well, gee, that's just great. Like, I don't know if they're going to think I'm going to judge them or bring it up again, or maybe that something's going on. So I just take it that something's just going on that they don't want to share with me. So, again, I try not to take it personal, because it's God's timing. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, but anyway, so, I don't know. Did I say everything? I don't even know. I don't know. Oh, my favorite color is like this color right here.
That was Kathleen's favorite color too.
Yeah, that. And it's on my phone, and people tease me because it's all over my house. Peacock colors. My wedding was peacock colors. So I love those colors. So yeah. But anyway.
As far as like videos turned on, I can't see any other faces. So I don't know if I have an affirmative from if Shalina is able to turn hers on, or Becky. And I know Stephanie's been here off and on. I know she's been doing a Bible study. Anybody else? I'll just wait on you guys, one of you, to unmute if you want to. Oh, there's Shalina. Hey, girl. How you feeling, girl?
Not too bad today.
Okay, that's good.
So I'm Shalina. I live in a small town, about 900 people, and we have a stoplight too, like Christia. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I'm a social worker, but I'm disabled right now because a drunk driver hit me and messed up my spine. So, yep. And I had surgery like 10 days ago. Yep. I started Plexus to lose weight, and I was very introvert and never planned on telling my story ever. And other people decided to post my surgery. Well, my mom posted my first post, and then it went from there, and it kind of blew up and went crazy. And then the drunk driver hit me and kind of knocked everything out of order. And so I'm trying now, or my long-term goal now is to get healthy again after going through so much trauma over the last 3 years, between car wrecks and losing a parent and having your body really sick because it has an organ that's not working, and they wouldn't do surgery until it was an emergency. And so, yeah.
Do you have a question or a favorite color?
Question. I guess my question for you is that in one of your videos, I think it might have been even on here, that you said that you see the jewels changing and whatnot. So what do you mean by that? You said that you saw like because like I guess we all see the jewels now, like mostly, you know, like Celeste and stuff like that. And you said in one of your videos that you had a vision that that it was going to change, and so I was just kind of wondering what you mean by that.
Okay. I think this is probably the perfect Zoom to explain this on, because we've covered so many aspects of the broad spectrum thing. I think that a lot of teams right now, and I'm not saying this critically, but we have a lot of white girls with blonde hair. you know what I'm saying? We have a lot of, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I have lots of friends who are white girls with blonde hair, and I love them. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that it's kind of like the direction kind of took off. And I think that's kind of happened with a broad spectrum approach, because to be honest with you, that's what television looks like. That's what magazines look like. That's what, you don't see a lot of curvy girls with red hair. You don't see a lot of dark-skinned people. Even in our Plexus, they're getting better about this, but even in the brochures and stuff that they put out, there aren't a lot of multicultural. There's not a lot of men. And I have seen, I know this is future, but I have seen a shift. And of course, I saw this shift before we branched out into Mexico. But I believe I'm not sure how to say this. Chris Pear has basically said, you know, the Celeste of Mexico hasn't started Plexus yet. And you know what I'm saying? And when she does, what if she's on your team? What if you sponsor her? And then what does her team look like? And then before you know it, convention looks totally different. Do you see what I mean? Like, if Mexico's expansion is as huge as the United States, and I believe that it will be, and I don't believe that Mexico is the end of it. I mean, we are Plexus worldwide, and I believe that I think we had put tunnel vision glasses on, and I even think we're going to have to kind of, as Jules, even myself, I'm going to have a little bit of shifty, shaky ground as they're inviting new cultural, even religious beliefs into the Jewel, you know, the Jewel page on Facebook and all this stuff. It's not that we can't openly talk about all of our beliefs and give glory to God or whatever, but we have to be willing that everybody else can say what they want to say too. With that, there's going to be multi-dimension, multicultural, multi-religious beliefs. I just see a lot of that. It's probably just when we think, gosh, Plexus is so saturated with all the skinny, beautiful blondes, we're going to look up and see an absolute sea of what the actual world looks like. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Every size, every shape, every unique feature. People are going to join for all kinds of reasons. You'll have people join just for the business. I think a lot of people in Mexico will join just for the business. And then, learn about the products as they go, learn to love the products as they go. But so many people in Mexico, it's according to what we've been told, are looking for something to escape maybe the poverty they live in, or looking for something to escape a bad relationship that they're in, whatever. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. I'm really excited about it because I think I told you it's been prophesied over me that I would be one of the top earners in the company. And the reason that's exciting to me, aside from anything financial, more than anything financial, is what does that look like? Like right now, I'm not even sort of close. I'm not even on one of the teams that has top earners. So I'm like, this is going to be beautiful. I'm going to love to see God paint this picture, because it's going to have to be God. And yeah, the world demographics, I think it's going to be really cool. So I think my daughter, I just now thought of this. My daughter might sponsor someone in Mexico who might be the next Celeste. Do you see what I'm saying? There's no telling how it might unfold. It might be you, Shalina. You see what I'm saying? There's no way to know. It's awesome to think about. So anyway.
All right, I like that. Because you are right. Right now, like, all you see is blonde, skinny people, and you're just like, I really don't fit into that. So how does that?
What's interesting is that's not actually true. There is a majority thing there that gets represented on stage, for example, but their teams are not made up all of blondes.
Right.
And not that I hope y'all don't think I'm criticizing that at all. But I'm just saying there's such diversity on all the teams where, maybe for example, I've always wondered about something that someone said to me. I got a scholarship in high school to go to college, and it was a leadership scholarship, which I think is interesting considering all the things I've said about leadership now, my prior experience with it. But someone said when they were taking a picture of our group of the people who won our scholarship, they said, "This is sure a good looking bunch of kids." And then a side note later, they were like literally, "This is a good looking, this is weird per the demographic, a bunch of good looking people." Isn't that weird? Okay, first of all, good looking is in the eye of the beholder, what is cute or whatever but I wondered to myself, my first thought was, I wonder if the scholarship people just picked cute people. And then I was like, that's weird. Then I was like, I wonder if they were from families that fit a certain this. I mean, all these questions that come up in your mind. Well, lots of times leadership does look like a bunch of cute people. I'm just saying this. I'm talking about a lot of times the people that are winning are risk takers. They're ones that are more likely to dye their hair blonde. I'm just saying. They're ones that are more likely to go on a risky diet. They're ones that are more likely to go even get liposuction. They're ones that are more likely to do all these things that are risky And that makes them look a certain way, but it also is what makes a leader lots of times. I'm just saying a lot of the qualities that make them look a certain magazine way also happen to be, even though the two things may not hold hands, also happen to be the same types of personality traits that cause them to be like a red personality where they just charge through, you know, and they have checklists and to-do lists and all these things. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be these things in order to be this other thing. It just happens to be that leaders lots of times will do things that fit the mold, like dye their hair, get their nails done, do a risky diet, whatever. I'm just saying. So I hope that answers your question. I think we're going to see a hugely different demographic, probably within not just this year, but probably in the next 2 years. Convention's going to look like a totally different thing. So, oh, Steph.
Okay.
Oh, wait, what's your favorite color, Shalina? You didn't tell me. Sorry.
So turquoise and purple, but I wear a lot of black.
Okay. Okay, Steph.
Okay, I'm going to keep this as brief as possible. I know everybody's getting tired. So I started Plexus back in July of 2014, so it's been 5 years, and literally because I just didn't sleep well at night. And when I say that, it was like 1 to 3, 2 to 4 in the morning. I was up every night for like 20 years. It didn't matter. Tim would get up for the bathroom, and I was awake. So I didn't realize that was an unhealthy gut. So my sponsor, who was just a fellow baseball mom, I was talking and I just said, yeah, I don't sleep well at night. And she looked at me like I had two heads and she said, Steph, you don't sleep well at night? And I said, no. So long story short, I started the products, and after 3 days I was sleeping well, and I just literally started shouting it from the rooftops. And I was like, okay, I'm reading all these testimonials. We have to be getting my uncle with diabetes, my sister with MS or sister-in-law, my aunt with cholesterol meds, like all the people that I knew, like allergies, asthma, was all in my family. So I actually just started messaging all my family. And I even sent an email to my whole family. And I was like, okay, everybody just has to realize what these products can do. And I literally had about 50 family members on the products. There's probably only about 35 maybe at this point, but that's still a lot of family members. So gosh, there's so much I could say, but my husband, Tim, a lot of you know he's disabled from a brain tumor, and he has seen probably the biggest changes that I didn't even know he was going to see. So I started him super slowly on the products. Back in 2015, he'd had his first, I believe, hip replacement because his long-term use of steroids with his brain tumor and the high doses of steroids had actually caused him to, it attacked joints. And they said that, 20 years down the road, it's going to attack your joints. I remember hearing that. It did. So hip replacement, and I started him super slowly. Well, in the last 4 years, he has had his thyroid med lowered at least 4, maybe 5 times. He, just in the last year and a half, actually, the GI doctor, the specialist at Mayo Clinic in Rochester up here in Minnesota, literally looked at us last April and said, Mr. Simmons, I'm looking at your scans from your celiac disease, and we are seeing no incidence of celiac disease in your body. And he said, no, I'm not telling you go eat gluten, don't eat wheat, oats, all that stuff. But he said, whatever you have done to clean up your GI tract, you have done a heck of a job. You need to keep doing it. Well, the only thing he's done besides being gluten-free since 2004 is adding in Plexus. So that, along with his cholesterol went from 209 down to 137. I mean, that's just Tim. So these are the changes that over time he's seen. Like, he didn't see these changes in the first 3 months, 6 months, most of it, except for the cholesterol. But it's over time, and people have to realize that some bodies, when you've had years and years of all this, it takes time to peel back those layers. And some people won't give it that time. So anyway, that's basically how I started. So yeah. And then what were your other questions? I've heard so many people's answers, but I'm thinking long-term goal. Okay, so I would like to rise to the top of this company. And I don't know truly if this is the vehicle that will eventually get me where I need to go. But I do know that I don't know if there's even a term for this, but I'm going to term it if there isn't, or I'm going to coin it. I want to be a gap stander. So I want to be that person that stands in the gap for others. And I just literally want to be there for people. And I know what I see in my mind for what I want to do for others. I don't know how it's tangibly going to work out, but there's so many people that don't have that margin in their lives. And it could be financial, it could be physical, it could be their health, it could be mentally, anything. But I just want to be that person that just comes alongside them and says, let me help you in some way. So that's where I'm at.
You relate with that. I never have heard it called that either, but I love the concept as a whole and totally relate with it. What's your favorite?
Yep. My favorite color?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite color is pink, and truly, I wanted to live in a pink house when I was young. And I love the color pink. I had a pink alarm clock. I had a big pink foot pillow when I was young, a big pink bedspread. I still love pink. And it's funny how it's the pink drink. So there you go.
Yeah. Pink is my favorite too. I don't wear it as much as I probably would if I was like just being my own self all the time. But like I just painted the door of the guest house flamingo pink. I painted the mailbox flamingo pink. I just did that today and planted a bunch of pink roses outside too. I love that color. So
yeah,
awesome.
Super fun.
I'm curious if is Becky still on here? I see her on here, but I'm not sure if sometimes people's names are still on here after they've gone. Okay. Did you have a question for me?
So I guess this is Plexus related, but still just a universal question for you. What do you wish was different within Plexus that you feel is something that actually can be changed?
Okay, I'm going to back up just like I want to tell you a couple things because this is something I try not to be like too that I could make you a list. Mm-hmm. Okay. But I don't think like I try to keep myself in check with quit wishing for things that are not but I will tell you this. If I went back to 2 years ago, the things that have checked off of that list in the last 2 years, for example, we have people at corporate now that fill all the gaps that I saw. I'm not a real scrutinizing person. Like I'm not going to stand and have a conversation with you and the whole time think your hair would look a lot better if it was layered. Like that's not my, I have people in my life that are like that. So I know that personality exists. But for me, I think right now as things stand, I really touched on a lot of it earlier with a wider demographic of what I think is going to look beautiful when all our teams look like a melting pot. I think that will be awesome. I would love it if governmentally the FDA would let up. Okay, and I that's something I literally pray about daily, to where there can be more, where we can be more transparent about not just Plexus, anything that's a natural approach, that's not pharmaceutical. And I actually believe with all my heart that the administration that we have right now, they're digging up stumps. I'm not talking about just specifically our president. I'm just talking about the movement that's happening right now that is taking everybody that's been there, staunch-headed, getting kickbacks by letting the pharmaceutical companies run the thing. They're like plucking them out one at a time. Nope, you gotta go. And eventually, right now, they've gone through the FBI, they've gone through the CIA, they've gone through. Next up, it won't be long before it is the FDA. Now, that's not necessarily anything that our company can do anything about, but it is a huge, if I had to just say I have one passion in this world, aside from just everyone's relationship with the Lord, put that aside, truth is my biggest passion. I want to know the truth about confusing passages in the Bible. I want to know, and it's not that I want to be right about what I think. Like, I don't want to be like, well, I know I'm right about that. If I'm not right, I want to know what is right, because I want to know truth. And for some reason, that part of my personality gets really hung up on this. Chemo is the only way to deal with cancer. Radiation is the only way. Steroids are the only thing for autoimmune diseases, because that is not even close to the truth. So if I could just change one thing, I know it's not anything that our company has a say-so in right now, but I think we do collectively as believers have a major say-so in watching all of the how the Q movement puts it is, you're watching something of the old guard. Basically, you're watching the deconstruction of what we've seen as government for my whole life, probably our whole lives. We're watching the systematic deconstruction of the old guard and all the people who have just been sitting around, congressmen, Senate people, whoever, taking kickbacks and kickbacks and kickbacks and kickbacks to keep then you see those documentaries that are about food and stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever watched any of those, but they show the people who, it'd be like, right now, the person that's in charge of the FDA used to be the owner of Monsanto. And then they quit Monsanto so that they could be the owner of the FDA. And now they do that for a while, and then their vice president quits their job with GMOs, and then they come over and they run because they can't do both at the same. Yes, Fed Up and Food Matters, and some of those are some of the most eye-opening awareness documentaries I've ever watched. And so I pray every single day for the systematic destruction of all the people that have been lying to us for a long, long time. Because I really struggle with seeing people sick because they're being lied to on our television, being lied to. And I pray for people's brainwash every single day, because like I said, I was even one of those people who would do it for weight loss before I'd listen to anybody talk to me about gut health. So anyway. Wonderful. Well, okay. Let me ask a real quick question of you guys. Does anybody have left lumbar pain? We have a prophetic word for that. Left lumbar.
Tim's back is still bothering him some, but I don't know if it's exactly the left side.
Okay. Were the generational thing, this is not me asking this, I'm getting it from someone else. Were the generational things on his mother's side? Do you know?
I believe so, but we never did find out specifically if there was anybody in the Masons or any of those groups.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely pray over that. Okay. Boom, lost a senator this week in a pharmaceutical scandal. Sorry to see. The door hits you in the butt, buddy. Okay, have that on your right. Lumbar pain. Linda, is that lower back? Isn't that what? Okay. Okay, I have to answer my husband and let him know. He says, you still going? Yes. I want to say, where did you go, dude? I'm going to pray for us really quick.
He's in his voodoo blue car.
He's in his voodoo, yes. Okay, and down the right leg. Is that anybody that's on here? I'm getting prophetic healing stuff from other people. Okay. Where's my music? Here we go. That's Linda. Okay.
Lori, can I just ask you a quick question?
Sure.
You remember at Leaders Retreat in Dallas, I actually first met you. Do you remember? You don't have to remember. I'm just wondering if you do, because you met a lot of people that day. It was at the prayer circle.
I was going to ask you if it was at the prayer circle.
It was.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Lord.
holding my hands and you were praying and all of a sudden you just opened your eyes and just stared at me and you were like, whoa, that's some energy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you remember that.
What's it about? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was asking for healing for Tim with his brain tumor, just in general about his brain tumor. And you were like, whoa, that is some energy. Yeah, I just remember that.
The most interesting thing about that to me is, let's see, it was Leaders Retreat in Dallas. Was that?
Oh, you know what? Maybe, nope, it was Orlando. I'm trying to remember because I think it was Orlando. We were down on that. Yeah, it was Orlando. It was not Dallas.
Okay.
Yep.
How many years ago was this?
That was in 17, so that was 2 years ago. And then I also did technically meet you at when we were doing the singing with Samantha when we were circling DC. My cousin Samantha trip.
You know how many? Okay, that's right. She's your cousin.
So
Okay.
you came back and said your voice is beautiful to her.
Her voice.
So anyway.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
I have thought about that DC trip, that particular prayer walk so many times. Because before that, I didn't know a thing about politics. Nothing. Hadn't voted. And when I announced I was going to do a prayer walk, I was just like, yeah, let's do a prayer walk. And I mean, I got one message after another from people going, oh, what you're doing is so important. And I'd be like, why? And they were like, I don't know. God's just telling me. And I'm like, okay. And literally I was told that, and I said it that day, I was told that I was supposed to say that you cannot have an agenda, no political agenda while we do this prayer walk. And now I get it, because everything is so, depending on your perspective, falling in place or completely upside down. Right now, everything is totally different than what we've always seen our whole life. And old agendas are getting kicked out the window, you know? So the fact that we did that before there were even candidates announced, that was literally right before, like a month before, I think. Wild. Was it 15? Was that 15?
Yeah, that was 15.
Okay. So, I just want to say, Holy Spirit, fire, fall tonight. God, we just welcome your presence tonight. God, we thank you. My sister told me today that when we were at the 21 Pilots concert, right before we went, she told me that she'd been having heel pain for a long time. So I went over there and just talked to her while I had my hand on her foot. And then I had her son come over and lay hands on her too. Like when I closed my eyes, I saw this scene pop up, so I'm supposed to tell it for some reason. So she was telling me that, reminded me the story today, and she said, I told Mom every time, she's about once a month, my heel will start to hurt. For just a second, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll think, uh-oh. She said, I just stop and say, thank you that you healed my foot. And she said, instantly it's gone. She said, once a month though, it tries. So tonight, right now, everyone who is on here who has been healed of something in the past, God, we thank you for that healing. We come into alignment with that healing, emotional, physical. God, we ask for that Holy Spirit fire fall right now. It's interesting that I used the word energy back then because I'm not sure how out of the closet I was about talking about energy back then. But God, I thank you for your Holy Spirit energy. God, that you are raising us to a higher frequency. We are not of this earth. God, we do not identify with the material, physical, all of that. God, we come out of alignment with all of that. We identify with heaven's agenda over our businesses. I cast out a spirit of fear in the name of Jesus, a spirit of neglect. I cast out a spirit of manipulation. You have to go. I cast out a spirit of trauma. It has to go in Jesus' name. God, we come out of agreement with those things. We come out of agreement with comparison. God, let you and your purpose and your calling in our life be the only standard we measure by. May we look at what we're doing tomorrow and say, you know, my only concern is, Lord, what would make this the perfect day? My activities in your eyes, Lord. I feel that Americans kind of as a whole have fallen asleep at the wheel, and we live to get by. It's like we live. I don't, but I see this all around me, and I used to live this way. Like, well, I'm gonna be on this earth for this many years, and so it's like I think I have this amount of a portion, and so I spread it out. I got this much good luck. I got this much, you know, and I'm going to spread it out, spread it thin because of whatever. And I come out of agreement with anything that looks like that. God, you are my portion and the measuring stick. And like tomorrow when I wake up, rather than being like, okay, how can I get through this day the easiest? What's going to make it the most organized? What's going to make it the, you know, where I can go to sleep the easiest, whatever, God, that I come out of agreement with ever thinking that way, and that I live each day with the measuring stick of how would God have me live just today, just this day, just today. It's a whole different way of looking at life. Ice dancing, ice skating. Does that anybody relate with that? Crystal's getting that prophetically. Are you getting a vision, or are you hearing that? And God is really talking to me about what I was just talking about. Like, very much so. Like, okay, it's making me think of a video that I watched the other day, an article that I read, and a video that talked about the people in Iran and how the Iranian movement into Christianity is being led by women. And it's not like women that are like being idolized or anything. It's literally like stay-at-home moms who are having like after school little coffee groups and telling their stories, their testimonies in their underground groups, because they get persecuted for their beliefs if they believe in Christ. And it's just women who have decided, I'm living my life for Christ because other people's lives depend on it. And in that article, one of these Iranian women, she overcame so much that she finally overcame persecution. She overcame financial instability, and she moved to the United States, and she only lived here for like a couple of years before she asked her husband, can we move back to Iran? And he was like, you want to move back to Iran where you were persecuted? And she goes, well, at least in Iran, everyone's not asleep. Here in the United States, everyone is living their life like entitled. Their beliefs are asleep. They don't live like with purpose. Oh my gosh, that spoke to me so much. She's like, literally, the United States is a place where it's a lullaby to sing you to sleep. Like that's the enemy's tactic, is to sing you to sleep to where you'll be 70 years old and you will have never fulfilled your purpose. Sleep through it all. Learn through it all. Play it safe through it all. Spread it thin through it all. And you can at least come out on the other side being like, well, I survived it and played it safe. God, I rebuke all of that. I repent for any time I've thought that way, for any time I've acted that way. I don't want to spread it thin. I don't want to play it safe. I want to be one of those risk takers. I'm a risk taker. I'm a visualizer. I'm a person who believes in energy and frequency, and I tie it all back up. It's all part of Jesus. It's all Christ-centered. I share my beliefs openly so that others may find the freedom that I have found. I share my beliefs openly, but also open-heartedly. If there is something that I believe that's not true, Lord, I ask that you would show that to me, because that's my only interest, is in the truth. Yeah, like we have all the time in the world. Rebuke that, Linda. Tell it whatever it is, you got to go. Take absolute dominion over it. Say you got to go. Right now, I just speak boldness, Holy Spirit boldness on every one of us. No more spreading it thin. No more playing it safe. No more acting like we got 40 more years. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not sure we do. I mean, of course, I've never been sure that we do, but I'm relatively sure we don't. God, I thank you for revealing that to each person that's on here tonight in their own specific way. Reveal it to them in a dream. Show that to them in a vision. Whisper it into their ear. You're not going to come out on the other side of this and go, whew, I played it safe. I survived all that. God, that I would slide into home base with my hair on fire. That's how risky I was, where it's like, yes, slide into home base because I took all the risks. God, I thank you. I thank you for risk takers. I thank you that you are anointing new people to be bold in what they do. I mean, oh my gosh, I can't even picture myself that I can't picture a life where, people would show up at my funeral and be like, bless her, isn't she so awesome how safe she played it? She spread it so thin. She made everything last. She made everything. She's so resourceful. She never ran out of flour and sugar, and she never ran out of all the things to like she was so good with all the things. No, I hope they say that girl took risks. She believed in herself. She believed in what she believed enough to say it, to project it. She found her tribe. She loved them hard. She found her tribe. She found her tribe. She stood on a box and yelled who she was until other people who identified with that came out from the woods, regardless of what town she grew up in, regardless of what her neighbors think. She painted the door flamingo pink, even though she knew it would annoy the neighbor. Not to annoy the neighbor, but even though she knew it would. She opened up a guest house because God told her to. And I don't know what God's going to do. I'm just going to say, I don't know what God's going to do, but I don't have to know. I don't have to know. I just know that I had lived too much of my life being too broad spectrum. I didn't know that word like that until tonight, but I lived too much of my life pleasing. And I'm going to tell you right now, the people I tried to please probably won't be alive a lot longer. I'm just saying, like statistics say, they won't live a lot longer. And when they're gone, what in the heck am I going to be thinking then? Wow, I never did get them pleased. I never did get that. I never did get them pleased. I never did measure up. I never did whatever. I never impressed them. I never, whatever has nothing to do with me. God, may we be fully delivered from all those things. May your Holy Spirit presence show up and show out in all of our lives. Powerfully, anointedly. I take what I have and give it to you. I literally put it on a table, just display it before you and say, this is what I'm working with. Show me how to work. Show me how to make it. Show me how not to spread it thin, Lord. Show me how to multiply it. Don't show me how to be resourceful and spread it out. Lord, show me how to multiply. Show me how to propagate what I have. Show me how to take what I have and turn it into, not be resourceful, not spread it thin. I don't know what this is, but woo! No more spreading it thin. Thank you, Jesus. Linda, is your neck still feeling? You better? Little? You better? More, Lord, more, more, more. Wow. She stayed with her husband. Wow. Yes. I know, like, I'm reading what Crystal, when I meet the Father face to face, I want to recognize him and be able to go boldly up to him and hug him. Me too. I don't want him to say, girl, you sure were chicken, weren't you? I mean, he won't, but still, I didn't want to think of that. Girl, you sure worried about them neighbors, didn't you? Girl, you sure worried about your English teacher, didn't you? Girl, you sure worried about your mama, didn't you? I don't mean worried about your mama, but you know what I mean. You sure worried about all those things, didn't you? No, I do not want that. I do not want that looming over me. It's worth all the risk taking to not have that looming over me, to not have any of that looming over any of us. God, break us completely free, deliver us fully from all of that. No. Yes.
Man, and I was gonna get off the call after I talked, but I almost did, and I got off camera, and I was like, nah, I need to stay on. I'm glad I did, because everything you're saying right now is like, I'm like, oh my gosh, because I do that. So, oh, what are they going to think? Oh, they're going to say this, they're going to say that, or whatever. And my husband looks at me and goes, stop. He is so supportive and more confident in me than I am in myself. And he goes, don't you know how great you are? And I'm just like,
isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's sad. You know, it really is, but it's just crazy. I was going to tell you something real quick. You know, you did this, you had talked about, I don't know how long it's been, about making a paste out of body cream with Probiotic 5 and stuff.
Yeah.
On stuff. Well, you know, with the stress of losing my brother-in-law, it'll be 2 weeks Friday. We've been under a lot of stress, and Chloe was taking it hard too. And she had, they had a church thing, and it was where they were, you know, sitting adoration with Jesus, whatever. And she was thinking about everything. And plus she had lost a friend that had a condition, and she died. She'd been sick for a long time. And so anyway, everything was hitting her. Well, she started getting like this red all right here. She had almost kind of like, I don't know if it was hives or what, but she's been having these funky things pop up on her face. And I'm like, what's going on? She's like, I don't know. And, you know, she's taking her supplements or whatever. And we were trying the Joyome and all this other stuff. And finally I was like, oh my gosh. She goes, what? I said, I know what I need to do. I got the Probiotic 5, opened it up, mixed it up in a little medicine cup, put a Q-tip, made it like a mask, and I made her sleep with it. She had it all right here and here, and it dried. She goes, it feels weird. I said, just leave it alone, just whatever. The next day, she got up and washed her face and comes out, and she's all, Mom, look, it was all gone, just that quick. Because I'm talking like almost 2 weeks of just this irritation. And that night at church when she was crying, people were coming up and hugging her. She goes, I don't know what it is. Like, it was almost like I was allergic to people touching me. They were making me more red. And she just had blotches. I mean, it wasn't just from crying. I mean, you could see, she said it was burning her. And we did that. And I took pictures, and I'm like, I need to, like, I don't know if that'd be a compliant thing to post, but what I did, but it worked. I did it. And I was like, it's just awesome. I had to share that with you. But that very next day, it was all gone.
Does she take ProBio?
Yeah.
Wow.
She does. I mean, she does it. But and that's what I was like, what's going on? Because we take the supplements. So I don't know what's been going on. I mean, I don't know too. But also her asthma's been more. And earlier, I don't know who was talking about a mold thing. I'm like, oh gosh, I hope it's not that.
I was about to ask, that was my next question. Yeah, and that could be, she might have been detoxing. I would definitely test for mold just to make sure that that's not what's going on.
Yeah.
So
we did that in the very beginning with the Dreamers Unite, and the worst place was in my husband and our bedroom in the bathroom. Actually, I thought her bathroom was going to be bad, and hers was probably the worst. Our bedroom and bathroom and our laundry room were the worst. So I don't know, but I mean, that's one thing I'm always like, if it rains or we shower, leave the door cracked, you know, like letting the steam out. Cause my mom, and we used to have mold in our house. It was long time ago and stuff. And a lot of that stuff got torn out and redone or whatever. But yeah, but I just had to tell you that paste story because you had suggested that. And I don't know why I didn't think about it before, but I'm like, that works. And it did. It just that one night, and that was it. The next day it was gone. And so she's like, so now she takes a little, like a jar, because it is a sample that I got from Clinique a long time ago, and I didn't throw them out because I was like, oh, we could put our little lotions in here, whatever. And she showed me yesterday, look what I did. And she put body cream in there, and she takes it to school. So if it starts to feel like it's dry, she'll rub it on. And her skin is so soft. She'll feel how soft my skin is. So yeah, but now she's like, I love body cream. So now she wants it all the time. Yeah. So it works. It's awesome. It's awesome. So I had to share that with you. That was just cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm just going to close this out with a big amen. This was like the longest call. Not the longest call in history, but it was a really long call. But I thought it was really great. I think it's great getting to know each other and just one thing I picked up is I thought it was very interesting how we all got started. All the different stories about how we all got started, and the whole thing about you can't say the wrong thing to the right person is so true. Like where we stop and we're like, wait, I need to rethink how I'm doing this or whatever. I know that there are wrong approaches, but as educated in how we should and shouldn't do things as we are, we shouldn't really hesitate to reach out to all kinds of people. We have amazing stuff. So Okay, for real. Closing us out. You guys have a great night. I'll post the recording. Good night, guys.